Chapter 1783. At that moment, Yun Luofeng's body was covered in dragon scales. It was as if she had put on a sturdy armor that shone brightly. Master, the dragon scale armor can only last for 15 minutes. You must hold on. The breakthrough of a deity was extremely difficult. If she was not careful, she would be turned into ashes by the heavenly tribulation. Boom! Another bolt of sky thunder struck Yun Luofeng's body. This heavenly lightning was much heavier than the previous ones. If it wasn't for the dragon scale armor, she might have been struck by the heavenly lightning and vomited blood. Little Mo, why didn't you tell me earlier that the ancestral dragon blood I consumed had such an effect? If she had known that she would become a deity directly, she would not have cultivated so blindly. She would have been fully prepared before breaking through. Little Mo felt wronged. You should blame Little Worm. He didn't tell me. I will drag him out of the divine grimoire and beat him up later. Because Little Worm had fallen into a deep sleep, Yun Xiao had left him in Yun Luofeng's space. That was why Little Mo had said that he would drag him out and beat him up. Unfortunately, Yun Luofeng was in so much pain that she could not even speak. Even with the protection of the dragon scale armor, she still felt as if all the bones in her body were falling apart. Boom! The lightning did not stop. One bolt after another landed on Yun Luofeng's body. Her body began to sway uncontrollably, but she forcefully held on with her willpower. No, something's wrong. Little Mo's expression changed. Master, there's something wrong with your heavenly tribulation. What's wrong? Yun Luofeng gritted his teeth and squeezed out these few words. When you break through to become a deity, the lightning that appears is closely related to your future achievements. For example, the more lightning you experience, the more powerful you are, and the more lightning you experience. Little Mo's lips trembled. Her eyes were filled with fear. However, as far as I know, the most powerful person in history only experienced 18 bolts of lightning. His achievements after that couldn't even be described as a genius. He was a complete monster. A bitter smile appeared on Yun Luofeng's face. I have already experienced 18 bolts of heavenly lightning. Master, based on your experience, there is only one possibility. Little Mo's heart sank. I know you may not believe me, but the heavenly way does exist on this mainland. You can see it from the heavenly lightning that appeared during your advancement. Now, the heavenly way clearly wants to strike you to death. Yun Luofeng was almost unable to hold on any longer. Her dragon scale armor was also gradually dissipating. If the heavenly lightning did not end soon, perhaps she would be turned to ashes by this lightning tribulation. No. She absolutely could not die under the lightning tribulation. It wasn't easy for him to reach this step. How could he be willing to be struck to death by heavenly lightning? Little Mo was worried. Master, if I'm not wrong, it's your future achievements that even the heavenly axiom is afraid of. He was afraid that you would go against the heavens, so he wanted to kill you before you grew up. Heavenly law? Yun Luofeng sneered and stood up from the ground. Her eyes were filled with arrogance and arrogance. Her domineering voice echoed throughout the forest. So what if it's the heavenly Tao? I, Yun Luofeng, want to go against the heavens. If you have the guts, strike me to death now. If I don't die, one day, I will destroy the heavenly axiom. My fate is up to me, not the heavens. Even if the heavenly axiom really existed on this mainland, she did not believe it. Chapter 1784. If he really wanted her to die, then she would defy the heavens. Boom! The thunder roared fiercely and struck down. Yun Luofeng's body trembled, but she stood firmly on the ground like a bamboo tree, unmoving. No matter how the lightning struck, she stood proudly with her head held high. She would not admit defeat in the face of the heavenly Tao that everyone on this continent feared. Even in death, she would not yield to the so-called heavenly Tao. It was as if the woman's strong conviction made the lightning not as powerful as before, but made people feel a trace of fear. Yes, the heavenly Tao was afraid. Little Mo was dumbfounded. He did not think that Yun Luofeng's words would scare the lightning. But, just as the sound of the heavenly thunder became softer and softer and softer and softer, a dragon's roar suddenly came from the souls of the two. Master, Little Worm is awake. Little Mo was overjoyed and quickly released Little Worm from the divine grimoire. But, the moment he saw the little worm, his expression suddenly changed. Little Worm, are you breaking through? Little Mo's voice was full of fear. This little thing could have broken through at any time. Why did it have to break through now? Thinking of this, he hurriedly shouted, "Master, get out of the way, hurry!" Yun Luofeng had just reacted when he saw that the lightning, which had weakened previously, grew stronger again. Thunder roared and a bolt of lightning struck down towards Little Worm. Whoosh! As Yun Luofeng was very close to the little worm, this bolt of lightning also affected her. She felt a sharp pain in her internal organs and her beautiful face paled. At this moment, the dragon scale armor's time was up and it disappeared from Yun Luofeng's body. Previously, she could deal with the lightning by relying on the dragon scale armor. Now that the dragon scale armor was gone, she could not force herself to continue. "Master, quick, use the puppet!" Little Mo's anxious voice sounded in Yun Luofeng's ear. Yun Luofeng did not hesitate and hurriedly summoned Azure Wings. Yun Yi understood Yun Luofeng's order and used his bronze-like body to meet the lightning. Boom! Boom boom boom! The heavenly thunder quickly struck down with great power. When it struck Yun Yi's body, it was as if it had landed on a hard iron wall, making loud thumping sounds. The little worm had long been so frightened by the lightning that it hugged its head and curled up behind Yun Luofeng. Its fearful eyes glanced at the lightning in the sky as it continued to mutter to itself. "This isn't right. There's something wrong with this heavenly lightning. I've seen the heavenly lightning when others broke through to the godly spirit level. None of them were this powerful. Why is this heavenly lightning so powerful? I was almost scared to death." The corners of Yun Luofeng's mouth twitched. He ignored the little worm's resentment and quietly looked at Yun Yi. "Little Mo, what's going on?" Yun Luofeng turned to Little Mo and asked. Although Azure Wings was in a sorry state under the heavenly lightning, his originally damaged body actually began to gradually recover under the lightning tribulation. "I don't know either. Can the sky thunder become the puppet's nourishment?" Little Mo was stunned. When he had asked Yun Luofeng to summon Azure Wings, he had planned to use this puppet as a shield to block the heavenly lightning. Who would have thought that the heavenly lightning could also become the puppet's nourishment? Yun Luofeng's face darkened. So all those heavenly lightning just now were for nothing? Little Mo smiled embarrassedly. "You can't blame me for this. You can only blame Ju Qian. He was the one who taught you the puppet-making technique, but he didn't explain this. You should go and settle the score with him. I'm innocent." Chapter 1785. Yun Luofeng no longer looked at Xiao Mo and turned towards Yun Yi again. The heavenly lightning was enraged and struck with even greater force. However, as the heavenly lightning grew stronger, Yun Yi's body also became more powerful. Then, Yun Yi was a low-level Holy Spirit previously, but he suddenly broke through. Intermediate Holy Spirit, Advanced Holy Spirit, half-step to Void Realm. Then, he entered a realm that no one could reach in their entire lives, God. As Yun Yi was a puppet, he did not attract the lightning tribulation when he broke through to become a god. Otherwise, he could make use of the lightning tribulation to break through again. The heavenly lightning knew that it could not do anything to Yun Yi, so its power gradually weakened and finally disappeared. The entire sky was calm and returned to a pure blue once again. The blue was so beautiful that it looked like it had been dyed with ink. At the same time, Yun Luofeng felt that her body had entered a new area. Due to the sudden change and the injuries she had just suffered, she could not bear it in the end. Her mind went dark and she fainted. At this moment, Yun Luofeng did not know how much of a commotion his breakthrough had caused in this space. All the forces were mobilized just to find the person who had attracted such a powerful heavenly tribulation. "Young master, there's someone here." A surprised voice suddenly rang out in the forest. Then, a young man walked out from the front. When he saw the scene before him, his eyes were filled with shock. There was a white-robed woman lying in a deep pit. She was covered in wounds and her face was deathly pale. In a radius of 100 miles around her, there was nothing left. It was as if she had been struck by lightning. Everything was scorched. This lady must have been affected by the heavenly lightning just now. The young man thought for a moment and said, "Fortunately, the heavenly lightning was not targeting her. Otherwise, she would have been smashed into pieces." The young man thought for a moment and continued, "Bring her back first. Since she's here, she must have seen the person who broke through." "Young master, why are you so sure that she was not the one who broke through?" a follower asked doubtfully. The young man laughed. Although I know that the heavenly tribulation has alarmed everyone and some people have even gone out to search for the person who broke through, do you think anyone could have survived the heavenly lightning? The follower said, Young master is indeed wise. Indeed, under that kind of heavenly lightning, it is impossible for anyone to survive. Those who broke through must have been crushed to pieces. Let's go. Let's bring her back and get Dr. Lin to take a look at her injuries. Young master, the attendant looked seriously at the beautiful girl lying on the ground. Don't you feel that this girl is very similar to young master's master? The youth was startled, and his gaze became a little dazed. Master isn't from this place. She came from another mainland. It's said that she almost died on the battlefield. When she was fleeing for her life, she accidentally opened up this space, causing her to be trapped here. Therefore, it's impossible for this girl to be related to Master. Also, the young man paused. Master has lost her memory. She only saw these things in her dreams. As for her name or any relatives, she doesn't remember them. Let's bring her back first. He frowned and walked in front of the woman. A stunned look flashed across his eyes, but he still picked up the woman from the ground and walked in the direction he had come from. Chapter 1786. In the noisy town, there was a courtyard house that was very quiet. On the large bed, the woman slowly opened her eyes. What she saw was an unfamiliar environment. She rubbed her throbbing temples and frowned slightly. I remember fainting in the bushes. Why am I here? Master. Little Mo's childish voice came from his soul. When you fainted, I wanted to take you away, but someone else came. The people here are different from the 7 continents, so it's very likely that they would discover my true identity. So, when I didn't feel any hostility from them, I went back to the divine grimoire. If Little Mo's identity was discovered, the divine grimoire of medicine would be exposed. This was why Little Mo chose to hide first. But Little Mo paused and continued, I eavesdropped on those people's conversation and heard that the man's master. Looks like you. Yun Luofeng's heart trembled. Looks like me. Little Mo was silent. After a while she asked, So, what I want to ask you is, are you sure Bai Ling is dead? I heard them say that the woman who looks like you came from another place and accidentally opened up this space from the battlefield. That's why she's trapped here. Bai Ling and Yun Yang had met danger on the battlefield and their souls had returned here. This was also why Little Mo asked this question. Yun Luofeng shook his head. If she's my mother, then whose bones are in the Yun family's ancestral grave? If she's not dead, grandfather wouldn't think that she's dead. It's because of those bones that he concluded that Bai Ling is dead. Maybe. I'm really thinking too much. Little Mo said helplessly. At this moment, the door was pushed open and a woman in a long green dress walked in. When she saw Yun Luofeng who had awakened, she said rudely, You're awake. If there's nothing else wrong with your body, you can leave now. Shiyu. Just as the woman finished speaking, a young man's childish voice came from behind her. It was obvious that he was dissatisfied. This lady has just recovered. How can you chase her away now? This is not the way to treat a guest. Shiyu's expression changed slightly and her gaze towards Yun Luofeng became even more furious. Looking at this woman's inexplicable hostility, Yun Luofeng was puzzled. He did not seem to have provoked her. Lady, are you all right? The young man walked slowly towards Yun Luofeng, a bashful smile on his handsome face. If you don't mind, you can stay with us for a while and recuperate. If it had been in the past, Yun Luofeng would have rejected the young man's suggestion. But now she was a newcomer to this place, and before she had a clear understanding of the situation, she couldn't just barge in. Young master. Shiyu bit her lip and wanted to say something, but at this moment, the youth's cold eyes swept over and interrupted her. She could only suppress the grievances in her heart and stare angrily at Yun Luofeng. Mississippi. The youth ignored Shiyu and turned to Yun Luofeng. My name is Chi Su. I haven't asked for your name yet. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. Yun Luofeng. Miss Maple, you should rest well now. If there's anything you need, you can look for me in the front hall. Chi Su smiled and glanced at Shiyu. Shiyu, come with me. Chapter 1787. After saying this, he walked out of the door without saying anything. Shiyu was very unwilling, but she still followed Chi Su out in the end. Master. After everyone left, Little Mo's voice was heard again. You've just broken through. Take this time to consolidate your cultivation base. Also, I'll tell you about the levels after deity. After the half-step void realm, you'll become a deity. To become a deity, you'll need to go through heaven's retribution. The more heavenly lightning you endure, the more prominent your achievements will be. More importantly, as long as you endure that much heavenly lightning, you'll definitely benefit a lot in the future. In particular, the more heavenly lightning one endured, the stronger the changes to one's body. You're now a deity. After that, there's still the heavenly God, ultimate God, emperor God, and true God. Little Mo paused before continuing. The levels after deity are different from before. There's no lower, middle, or higher levels. The next time you break through, you'll become a heavenly God. However, I can tell you that there were as many deities and heavenly gods as there were dogs on the mainland 10,000 years ago. Therefore, you still have a long way to go. After hearing Little Mo's words, Yun Luofeng became silent. After a while she slightly raised her head. The bright sunlight shone through the door and sprinkled on her face. No matter how long this path is, I'll keep going. I'll never give up. In the study room, Chi Su looked at the woman who followed him in with a hint of helplessness on his handsome face. Shiyu, I've decided to let her stay. You don't have to worry about this. Master, Shiyu's expression changed. We can't even protect ourselves now. If we let her stay, she'll definitely drag us down. There's no point in saying more. You'd better go do your own thing. Chi Su waved his hand and said, Yes. Shiyu bit her lip and took one last look at Chi Su before retreating. Yun Luofeng did not hear the conversation between the two. She was in the room consolidating her cultivation base when she saw a little radish head poking in from outside the door. It was a little lowly who looked like she was carved out of jade. Her big watery eyes shone with a dazzling radiance. She looked at Yun Luofeng with a curious gaze, as if she wanted to enter the door but was afraid to do so. Yun Luofeng also sensed the little lowly. He unconsciously retracted his aura and asked, Are you here to find me? The little girl sucked on her finger and nodded slightly. I heard that Big Brother brought back a beautiful big sister, so I came to have a look. Big sister. My name is Qiling. What's your name? Hearing this name, Yun Luofeng suddenly thought of June Linger. I wonder if these people are doing well in the 7 continents. My name is Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes. His gaze landed on the little lowly's tender little face, and the corners of his lips curled up. Then can I call you Big Sister Yun? The little lowly looked at Yun Luofeng with a pair of timid eyes. She looked expectant yet afraid of being rejected. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed. All right, but I have a few questions for you. What continent is this? Cloud Continent. The little lowly answered Yun Luofeng's question very seriously. Then where are you guys from? Yun Luofeng continued to ask. The little lowly bit her lips tightly. She moved her short legs and walked in through the door with a sad expression on her face. Chapter 1788. I am a member of the Qi family. My brother, Chi Su, is also a young master of the Qi family. She lowered her eyelids, concealing the sorrow in her eyes. But as a member of the Qi family, I am a good-for-nothing. In reality, Yun Luofeng had sensed that there was something wrong with the little lowly's body from the moment he saw her. So when he heard her say this, he did not feel much emotion. The Qi family chased me out of the family and banished me to this backward town. My brother was also chased out in order to protect me. The little lowly's eyes were filled with tears. Those people gave my brother a mission. They wanted him to expand the medicine shop in the town. Otherwise, they would not let us return to the Qi family. Yun Luofeng raised his brows. I see that your brother is quite capable. Since that's the case, why don't you just expand the medicine shop? The little lowly shook her head. It's not that simple. The medicine shop needs the support of spiritual herbs. However, medicinal herbs can only evolve into spiritual herbs after 100 years. Unfortunately, the few great spiritual herb mountain ranges in the cloudy continent are all controlled by those forces. Ordinary people cannot obtain spiritual herbs. Yun Luofeng had long known that whether it was the spirit god continent or this space, it would not be easy to obtain spiritual herbs. Apart from needing 100 years, more importantly, one needed a specific opportunity to transform the medicinal herbs into spiritual herbs. This caused the supply of spiritual herbs to fall short of the demand. They said. The little lowly lowered her head and answered timidly. If my brother cannot complete this mission, it will not be as simple as chasing us out of the house. They will sell me to someone else as a child bride. So, some time ago, my brother found a person who is willing to sell spiritual herbs and has recently pooled money to buy a stock of spiritual herb to use as the treasure of the medicine shop. Actually, spiritual herbs were not something that could not be bought in the cloudy continent. Unfortunately, all the mountain ranges that produced spiritual herbs had been monopolized by several forces. It was not that Chi Su had not thought of going to the medicine shop in the imperial city to buy a stock of spiritual herb. However, those medicine shops had received orders from the Chi family and would not sell spiritual herbs to him. That was also why Chi Su was in such a predicament. Now, Yun Luofeng finally understood why the maidservant named Shiyu was so hostile towards him. Chi Su was indeed in a predicament now. Yet, he had taken her in at this time. Wasn't this increasing their burden? Little spirit. Suddenly, an anxious voice came from outside the house. Qi Ling blinked. When she turned her head, she saw Chi Su hurriedly running in. Little spirit, hide here. Don't come out no matter what. Qi Ling was stunned. Just as she was about to answer Chi Su's question, she heard a commotion coming from the front hall. Chi Su's expression was very ugly. He looked at Yun Luofeng and said, Miss Yun, please help me look after my sister. After that, he didn't look at Qi Ling anymore, turned around and walked towards the front hall. Sister Yun. Qi Ling was a little scared as she curled up in a corner. It's the Qi family, it must be the Qi family again. Looking at Qi Ling's frightened little face, Yun Luofeng turned his gaze to the courtyard outside the house. His eyes slowly darkened. In the front hall, a young man who looked similar to Chi Su was sitting on a chair, gently sipping a cup of tea. He was a few years older than Chi Su, and his appearance was not as handsome as Chi Su's. Instead, it was more feminine. Chapter 1789. Chi Su, it's almost time. The young man smirked sinisterly. You're destined to fail. There's still a month left. How do you know that I'll fail? Chi Su sneered. His eyes were filled with coldness. Didn't your Chi family only dare to be so impudent when my master wasn't around? Back then, why didn't you dare to say a word when my master was around? Hee hee. The young man slowly stood up. His gaze was like a venomous snake that wrapped around Chi Su. Your master has been missing for 3 years. There's no news of him now. He's definitely dead. Don't expect him to stand up for you. Without him, you're nothing. Chi Su's face turned pale. His master had been missing for 3 years, and his fate was unknown. It was a pain in his heart. How could he not be angry now that he was exposed? Mo, I found someone to buy spiritual herbs recently. In a small place like Maplewood Town, as long as there's a spiritual herb in my medicine shop, it'll definitely be sold out within a month. Spiritual herb. Mo scoffed. Have you forgotten that the spiritual herbs in Drifting Wind Country are all controlled by our Chi family? You want to buy a spiritual herb? Dream on. Let me tell you, the spiritual herb you want to buy has already been bought by our Chi family. You're destined not to be able to get it. At that moment, Chi Su's body trembled and he almost fell to the ground. You're shameless. There's nothing too deceitful in war. Mo smiled. To tell you the truth, my initial thought was to sell that bitch, Qi Ling, to someone else as a child bride. However, to make you suffer even more, I'll make you send your sister here personally. Moreover, the person I helped her find is not only an old man in his 70s, but also a concubine. Chi Su's face was pale. He looked at Mo angrily. Xiao Ling is also a daughter of the Qi family. Don't you think you're going too far? Our Qi family doesn't have such trash. If you want to protect her, our Qi family can't do without you either. Mo said coldly. Chi Su closed his eyes slightly. His body trembled, and his face was filled with pain. Mo, you seem to have forgotten the status of the Qi family 10 years ago. Back then, the Qi clan was only a clan in a small city. Their status in the continent wasn't very high. It's all because of my master. She was the one who led the Qi family to its current position. Even the mountains controlled by the Qi family were all taken down by you. Thinking of the heavy past, Chi Su felt a wave of heartache. 3 years ago, when Master was still in the Qi family, all of you treated her with utmost respect and even showed great care and concern for Xiaoling. After that, Master went to one of the most dangerous places on the mainland, the Nemesis Forest, in order to find medicine to cure Xiaoling's body. She was gone for 3 years and all of you thought that Master was dead, so your attitude towards us changed. Qi Su opened his eyes. His gaze was no longer as angry as before. Instead, it was calm, without a ripple of emotion. Not only did they chase us out of the Qi family, but they also want to sell Xiaoling to someone else as a concubine. Ling was only 5 years old. Are you also eager to sell her out? If Master had known that you were like this, he would never have led the Qi family to become strong. Facing Qi Su's accusations, Qi Mo didn't look ashamed at all. Chapter 1790. Your master said that she'll be back in a year at most. If she comes back late, you don't have to look for her. This proves that she's definitely in danger. Qi Mo glanced at Qi Su. So don't try to use your master to threaten me. She can't protect you anymore. Qi Su pursed his lips. Are you done? If you're done, get lost. My master isn't dead, and she can't be dead. I'm only here to remind you that time is almost up. Also, Qi Mo sneered. The Qi family is powerful now because of your master. In order to make the Qi family your backer, she didn't hold back to increase the Qi family's strength. But so what? No matter how much she did, she was just stupid. The Qi family doesn't owe you anything. After saying that, Qi Mo flicked his sleeves and left. When he reached the door, he stopped and paused. Also, you don't have to hide Qiling. Since I said that I would sell her in a month, I will definitely fulfill my promise in a month. After saying that, he disappeared from Qi Su's sight without looking back. Young master. Shiyu walked forward and supported Qi Su's trembling body. Young master, are you all right? Qi Su grabbed Shiyu's arm tightly and his lips trembled. Shiyu, master will come back, right? Shiyu's heart tightened. Young master's master had gone to Nemesis Forest for 3 years. She must have been in danger. However, how could she say that to young master? Young master, she will definitely come back. Moreover, she is a person who keeps her promise. She once said that she would help Miss recover, so she will keep her promise. Qi Su smiled, but his pale face did not improve. That's right. Master is a person who keeps her promise. I just need to wait here for her. She will definitely come back. In the quiet dormitory, Qi Ling had been observing the commotion outside. When she heard the quarrel in the hall disappear, she heaved a sigh of relief. Those bad guys are finally gone. If brother's master was still alive, they wouldn't dare to treat us like this. The little Loli's voice was soft and cute, making people feel comfortable just by listening to it. Qi Su's master? Yun Luofeng suddenly remembered little Mo's words. What kind of person is his master? Qi Ling tilted her head. I call Big Brother's master Aunt Yun. She looks a lot like you, Big Sister Yun. Aunt Yun? Surnamed Yun? If that girl's surname was Yun, then she shouldn't be related to Mother. After all, his mother was only the daughter-in-law of the Yun family, and her surname was Bai. Aunt Yun doesn't remember her own name, but she is wearing a bracelet with the word Yun carved on it. I can show you the bracelet. The little girl giggled as she took out a bracelet from her lapel and presented it to Yun Luofeng as if she was presenting a treasure. This was given to me by Aunt Yun when I was born. I have been keeping it well. Boom. When he saw the bracelet that the little Loli took out, Yun Luofeng's mind went blank. A scene appeared in her mind. In the scene, a girl was sitting in a room, smiling sweetly. On her wrist was a white jade bracelet, and she was talking softly to a man who was hugging her. That was her memory from before she was 4 years old. Logically speaking, memories from before the age of 4 should be very blurry. But Yun Luofeng did not understand why her childhood memories were so clear. Chapter 1791. She recognized the bracelet immediately. It was the token of love that Yun Yang had given to Bai Ling back then. Bai Ling had always worn it and had never taken it off. She's not dead. Were Yun Yang and Bai Ling still alive? Where did the 2 corpses in the Yun family's ancestral grave come from? Sister, do you also think that Aunt Yun is not dead? Little Lolita smiled charmingly and put away the bracelet. Her movements were very careful. afraid that she would accidentally break it. Big Brother also thinks that Aunt Yoon is still alive, but everyone else says that she is already dead. Even the Chi family turned their backs on Aunt Yoon after she died. Perhaps thinking of the Chi family's actions, the little girl pouted. Actually, the Chi family's status today is all thanks to Aunt Yoon. Even the few mountain ranges that the Chi family owns were all single-handedly won by Aunt Yoon. You said that the Chi family's mountains were fought by Chi Su's master? Yun Luofeng's heart sank. She did not want to meddle in this matter, but if Chi Su's master was Bai Ling, then she would take back the land that she had fought for. Master, do you think that the woman they are talking about is Bai Ling? Just as Yun Luofeng was pondering, Little Mo's voice came through her soul again. I will not let go of any chance. Yun Luofeng raised her eyes, her dark eyes filled with determination. So, I will find her. In fact, Yun Luofeng did not have a deep memory of Bai Ling. Most of it came from the old man's description. The beautiful woman in armor had always been invincible on the battlefield, not weaker than any man. Therefore, Yun Luofeng had long wanted to meet this beautiful general. Unfortunately, Bai Ling was already dead. She did not have the chance even if she wanted to. Even if there was only a sliver of hope, she would not give up. Most importantly, Bai Ling was the mother of this body of hers. Based on this alone, she had to see her. Sister, you really look like Aunt Yoon. So, I like you very much. Can you be my sister-in-law? The little girl blinked and looked at Yun Luofeng expectantly. Yun Luofeng's face darkened. No. Why? Is my brother not good? He's good-looking and talented, and he's also very gentle. Little spirit. Before Qi Ling could finish, she was interrupted by a voice from behind. Her body stiffened. She turned around and stuck out her tongue. Big brother, you're here? Miss Yun's body hasn't recovered yet. Don't disturb her. Let her rest well. Chi Su glared at her. She was so scared that she didn't dare to breathe. She could only respond weakly. Oh. When Chi Su stepped into the room, Yun Luofeng lifted his head and looked at Chi Su. A light flashed in his eyes. I've heard about what happened to you from Qi Ling, Chi Su frowned. That girl Xiao Ling likes to spout nonsense. Miss Yun, don't listen to her. We won't chase you away. Just take good care of your body. No, what I mean is... Yun Luofeng pursed his thin lips. I can help you get through this crisis, but you have to agree to 2 of my requests. Chi Su was a little surprised. Miss Yun, our medicine shop doesn't lack gold coins. What we need are spiritual herbs, so I'm afraid you can't help us. Who said I can't provide the elixirs? Chapter 1792. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly and slowly got up from the bed. Not only can I provide spiritual medicine, but I can also use spiritual medicine to make spiritual liquid. Some spiritual medicine needed to be consumed directly. But some spiritual medicine, if consumed directly, would not be able to withstand the powerful force and explode. Therefore, these kinds of spiritual medicine needed to be diluted into liquid. Just like the spiritual medicine that Yun Luofeng used when he transmigrated, Chi Su's body shook as he looked at Yun Luofeng in shock. You're telling the truth? That's right. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. I want you to agree to 3 of my requests. What requests? Speak. Chi Su's heart tightened as he hurriedly asked. First, I want to find 2 people. One is called the Ghost Emperor and the other is called Ji Zhoutian. Chi Su frowned. It was difficult to find people. If he could return to the Chi family and use the Chi family's power, it would not be a problem. I agree. What's the second request? Yun Luofeng glanced at Chi Su and said nonchalantly, The second request is that you cannot expose me for the things that I have provided to you. Tell others that you have obtained them unintentionally. I can agree to this as well. Third. Yun Luofeng paused. I want you to swear to the heavenly axiom that you will not betray me in this life. Otherwise, you will be destroyed and never be reincarnated. Even in the 7 continents, many people believed in the heavenly axiom. But cultivators of that level did not have a deep understanding of the heavenly axiom. After breaking through to the immortal spirit level, they would realize that the heavenly axiom really existed. Once they made an oath, they would not violate it. Otherwise, they would really be destroyed and never be reincarnated. Chi Su did not hesitate. He pulled Qi Ling to kneel down and swear to the heavens. Of course, the premise was that Yun Luofeng really had the ability to help them. I'll give you a prescription later. You have 3 days to bring me the medicinal ingredients I want. All right, Chi Su did not ask any further questions and accepted the prescription. Miss Yun, when will our medicine shop have the spiritual medicine to oversee it? About a month. Yun Luofeng thought for a while. If she threw these herbs into the grimoire space, it would take at least 25 days for them to grow into elixirs. She also needed to extract the medicinal liquid, and just extracting the medicinal liquid would take 2 to 3 days. But our agreement with the Qi clan only lasts until the end of this month. It was only the beginning of the month, and the end of the month was exactly 1 month's time. What is the agreement between you and the Qi family? Qi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. Within a year, make the medicine shop a household name. In that case, I only need 1 day. Next, apart from finding those medicinal ingredients, I have one more thing for you to do. Yun Luofeng gently narrowed his eyes, and a glint flashed across them. When Qi Su heard what she said next, a look of joy flashed across his eyes. He joined his fists respectfully towards Yun Luofeng and walked out. In order to not let Qi Ling disturb Yun Luofeng, he dragged her out before he left. Needless to say, Qi Su's ability was still very strong. Even though he was unable to purchase spirit herbs due to the pressure from the Qi family, he had countless ordinary herbs. Thus, before 3 days had passed, he had already delivered the medicinal ingredients that Yun Luofeng needed, in the grimoire space. Yun Luofeng handed the medicinal ingredients in his hands to the beasts, so that they could pluck them into the herb farm. Chapter 1793. Soon after, her gaze slowly turned towards the seed of the dragon saliva tree and her lips curled indifferently. This dragon saliva tree needs the urine of the ancestral dragon to grow. It's a good thing that Yun Xiao left the little worm by my side. Otherwise, I'm afraid it would take a long time for the dragon saliva tree to grow. Then, Yun Luofeng turned to Little Worm, who was playing with the milk tea, and picked him up. P. What? Little Worm stared at Yun Luofeng with its big blurry eyes, not understanding what was going on. This dragon saliva tree needs the piss of the ancestral dragon to grow. Pee for me now. But... Little Worm trembled. What if I can't pee? Yun Luofeng smiled. Seeing her smile, Little Worm shuddered all over. I'll pee now, don't do anything rash. Little Worm was terrified. He had not forgotten that this woman had wanted to roast him and eat him without saying a word. So the fear in his heart towards Yun Luofeng made him ignore everything else and jump down from her hand. Standing beside the seed of the ambergris tree, he forced out a few drops of urine with all his might. That's right, only a few drops. Although dragon urine was filthy, it was also very precious to humans. In other words, every part of a dragon's body was a treasure. Even dragon feces could drive away spiritual beasts. This showed how precious dragon urine was. Done. After Little Worm had completed its task, it crawled to Yun Luofeng's side with a wronged expression. That's it? Yun Luofeng raised his brows and asked. Little Worm was very sullen. Do you think the dragon race is the same as humans? We only have this much urine, and I had to force it out with all my might. Yun Luofeng wanted to say something but suddenly realized that the dragon saliva tree she had planted in the soil had begun to sprout. The sprout was only the size of a bean, but it was enough to make people excited. Master, we did it, we did it. The dragon saliva tree has finally sprouted. Little Mo's face was flushed with excitement and he almost jumped up. The ambergris tree that no one has been able to successfully pluck for thousands of years has been born in our hands. It's a pity that Little Worm's dragon urine was too little. Otherwise, the sapling would not be so small. Yun Luofeng rubbed his chin. Little Mo, I'll leave the task of watering the dragon saliva tree to you. Remember to water it once a day. If Little Worm was a human, at this moment, its face would definitely be as black as the bottom of a pot. Even so, one could still feel the resentment in his heart. Mistress, you're ruthless. It suddenly felt that the biggest mistake it had ever made in its life was leaving the hidden divine mountain with Yun Xiao. Otherwise, he would not be in such a miserable state in the hidden divine mountain. A month's time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the meeting between Qi Su and the Qi clan. Ever since Qi Mo came to Maplewood Town a month ago, he hadn't come once in a month. He seemed to have concluded that Qi Su would definitely lose a month later. But even if he didn't come to Maplewood Town again, the recent movements in Maplewood Town still reached the ears of the Chi clan, the Imperial City. Compared to Maplewood Town, it was extremely luxurious. After all, this was the city where the royal family resided. In the Chi clan, the middle-aged man's face was cold. He clenched his fists tightly and a trace of anger flashed across his sharp eyes. You're saying that Chi Su will sell the spiritual liquid in 2 days? Chapter 1794. The spiritual liquid was even more precious than the spiritual herbs. It was made from the liquid extracted from several spiritual herbs. It was extremely effective. However, even the powerful Chi family did not know how to concoct the spiritual liquid. Father. Chiemo looked at the middle-aged man in front of him. Do you think that Yun Yueching hid it? Did she secretly give the spiritual liquid formula to Chi Su and not to the Chi family? The middle-aged man's eyes darkened. How dare that bitch hide it? She even gave such a precious spiritual liquid formula to Chi Su? This kind of thing is only useful in the hands of the Chi family. It's a waste to give it to Chi Su. At that moment, Chiemo and his son seemed to have forgotten that the Chi family was only where they were today because of Chi Su's master, Yun Yueching. Not to mention that Yun Yueching wasn't the one who gave the spiritual liquid formula. Even if he gave it to Chi Su, what was wrong with a master letting his disciple inherit his legacy? Instead, he felt that Yun Yueching should have given everything to the Chi family. He deserved to die if he gave it to Chi Su. Father, don't worry. So what if he has the spiritual liquid formula? He won't be able to concoct any good spiritual liquid without the spiritual herbs. Those ordinary herbs won't have any effect. Chimo's lips curled up. When he fails, we'll snatch the spiritual liquid formula. What do you mean by snatch? Qi Zhang smiled coldly. The spiritual liquid formula belongs to our Qi family. It's only natural for us to take back our things. How dare he not give it to us? Yun Yueching has been eating and drinking in our Chi family for so many years. I've never asked her for food expenses. That spiritual liquid formula will be her food and accommodation expenses for all these years. If Chi Su and his sister were here, they would definitely realize that their father was such a shameless person. The reason why Chi Mo was so sinister was because like father, like son. Master. Suddenly the door was knocked open, and a woman staggered in. Her pale face made her look a little sick. You can't treat Su'er and Linga like this. They're your children too. Who allowed you to come in? Qi Zheng was impatient. Mo. Take your mother away. Without my order, don't let her step out of the room. Yes, father. Qi Mo cupped his fists and looked at the woman with disgust. As a woman, you shouldn't meddle in men's affairs, lest you get kicked out of the Qi family. Lin Qing's body stiffened, and her eyes widened in shock. You dare to speak to me like this? I'm your mother. Mother. Mo sneered. Do you really think you're my mother? Mo. Perhaps Qi Zhang was afraid that he would reveal some secret, so he hurriedly shouted, What are you waiting for? Send her back. Hearing this, Mo swallowed the words that he was about to say. He glanced at Lin Qing coldly, grabbed her by the collar, and dragged her away. Qi Zheng took a deep breath and slowly sat down. Looks like I really shouldn't have told him Mo's identity back then. 20 years ago, Lin Qing gave birth to the eldest son of the Qi family. Who knew that after he was born, all the flowers and plants in the Qi family withered in one day? Because of this, the midwife claimed that it was an ominous presence that would affect the future of the Qi family. Therefore, without hesitation, he strangled his eldest son to death. Coincidentally, his mistress gave birth to a son at the same time, which was the current Qi Mo. Therefore, he cheated and brought Qi Mo into the Qi family to pretend to be the eldest son of the Qi family. At that time, Lin Qing had lost too much blood and was unconscious. Even though she was saved in the end, she did not know anything about the outside world. She did not realize that the son she had raised was not her biological son. Chapter 1795. Patriarch. In the study, an old man standing at the side respectfully heard Qi Zhang muttering to himself. He pondered for a moment and said, Back then, the Lin family was more powerful than the Qi family. You were afraid of old Master Lin, so you couldn't expose eldest young master's identity. Later on, when the Lin family was in trouble, you told eldest young master about this and let him meet his biological mother. Who knew that Yun Yueching would appear and accept second young master, so you couldn't bring Chimo's mother back. But now. The old man paused. Yun Yueching is already dead. Why are you still so worried? Yes, the Lin family had fallen, and Yun Yueching was dead. There was no one left to protect Lin Qing and her son. What else was he worried about? Actually, the reason why I hid this matter for so many years was because Yun Yueching was too powerful. Secondly, I wanted to borrow Yun Yueching's strength. If she knew that Mer and Chi Su were not brothers, then she would not help the Chi family. This was what he feared the most back then. Yun Yueching was a very virtuous woman. She couldn't tolerate even a grain of sand in her eyes. What she despised the most were men who had multiple wives and concubines. That year, in order to obtain Yun Yueching's help, not only had he not dared to take a concubine, he had not even seen Mo's mother for 10 years. He had used all his strength to care for Lin Qing and her son, and he had never despised that useless Qi Ling. If he hadn't performed so well, Yun Yueching wouldn't have cared about the Qi family at all. Elder Qi, you're right. Yun Yueching is dead and I no longer need to fear anyone. Besides, the Qi family is now powerful enough. We no longer need her help. Qi Zheng's face lit up with a faint smile. However, in his heart, he hated Yun Yueching. He wanted nothing more than to tear this woman to pieces. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have neglected Mer's mother for so many years, and he wouldn't have stayed by Lin Qing's side for more than 10 years. All of this was Yun Yueching's fault. She deserved to die. At a time like this, Qi Zheng had no idea that his actions were all for the sake of obtaining Yun Yueching's help. If he really felt that he had wronged Chimo's mother, he wouldn't need Yun Yueching's help. Not only did he want others to help him, but he also wanted to enjoy the happiness of having 2 wives. How could there be such a good thing? Forget it, I don't care what a mower wants to do. How could I not see that he had purposely said all this just to bring his mother back to the residence and give her an identity? Qi Zheng laughed bitterly. All these years, I have indeed wronged a mower and his mother. It is only right for me to compensate them. If Qi Su heard this, he would definitely vomit blood in anger. This bastard killed her elder brother and had his mistress take his place. All these years, she had been enjoying the benefits that her master had brought her, and even wanted to give the empire that her master had conquered to the mistress' son. In the end, he felt that he had let down his mistress and son? He had never seen such a shameless person before. Have you heard? The Qi family medicine store is selling a type of spiritual liquid recently. It is said that this spiritual liquid can help with cultivation. Tisk, isn't the person in charge of the Qi clan's pharmacy Qi Su, who was expelled by the Qi clan? I have a relative in the Imperial City. He told me personally that the Qi clan has issued a ban on Qi Su. Logically speaking, Qi Su doesn't have any spirit herbs in his possession. How did he make the spirit liquid? Do you think Qi Su stole the formula of the spiritual liquid and used ordinary herbs to make the spiritual liquid? If he used ordinary herbs to make the spiritual liquid, I'm afraid the effects would be greatly reduced. Chapter 1796. Maplewood Town. A piece of news had spread throughout the town. In 2 days, the Qi family's medicine store would be selling the spiritual liquid. Due to this news, the entire Maplewood town was in an uproar. However, everyone was in a wait-and-see state. No one thought that Qi Su's spiritual liquid would be effective. Miss Yun, how is it? Qi Su walked into the courtyard anxiously. He immediately saw the woman sitting calmly on the bed. Her eyes were filled with anxiety. There are only 2 days left. I'm afraid it's too late. Yun Luofeng glanced at Qi Su indifferently. Just go back and wait. I'll bring out the spiritual liquid in 2 days. Qi Su had wanted to say something, but when he saw Yun Luofeng's calm expression, he swallowed the words that were at the tip of his tongue. He should believe in her. If she could say something like this, she would definitely do it. In reality, Qi Su didn't know why he had such confidence in Yun Luofeng. Maybe it was because she looked similar to his master. This face made Qi Su subconsciously believe everything she said. All right. I'll wait for you in the front hall in 2 days. He glanced at Yun Luofeng one last time and walked out. Master. In the front hall, Shiyu had been waiting for him. Her beautiful face was filled with anxiety and her eyes were filled with anxiety. I've heard about what happened recently. Did Lord Yu Qing leave the spiritual liquid formula for you? But without the spiritual herb, the formula. Shiyu, I must have my own reasons for doing this. Chi-Su furrowed his brows. He promised Yun Luofeng that he wouldn't expose her. Even if Shiyu was his maid and the person his master had left for him, he couldn't tell her. Master. Shiyu pursed her lips. I'm just worried that if you fail this time, the young lady will be taken away by the Chi family. She didn't believe that Chi-Su could take out the spiritual herb. If she had it long ago, they wouldn't be in this situation today. Plus, Master, you still have the mood to look at that woman at a time like this? Shiyu said indignantly when Chi-Su didn't say anything. Instantly, a sharp gaze landed on Shiyu's face. What do you mean by that woman? You'd better be more polite when you speak. Don't think that just because you're someone left behind by Master that you can ride all over this young Master. That year, Master only saw that your talent wasn't bad, so she saved your life and asked you to stay behind to protect me. She didn't ask you to make decisions for me. Shiyu's face was pale. Ever since her young master had been rushed to Maplewood Town a year ago, she had followed him. She didn't know how much hardship she had suffered in the past year, but for her young master, she had persevered. But she didn't expect that the young master would rebuke her for a woman of unknown origin. Master, she only looks like Sir Yu Qing. She has nothing to do with Sir Yu Qing. Don't be fooled by her. Chi-Su's face gradually turned cold. Shiyu, it seems that without Master here, I won't be able to discipline you. Since that's the case, I won't be able to keep you here any longer. Leave. He was Yun Yueching's disciple, and Shiyu was nothing more than a handmaiden his master had left for him. As a maid, she dared to disobey her master's orders. Then why did he leave such a maid behind? Chapter 1797. Panic flashed across Shiyu's eyes. She hurriedly knelt down. Sir, please don't chase me away. If Sir Yu Qing comes back and finds out, he'll definitely kill me. Chi-Su sighed softly. He was too soft-hearted towards Shiyu. After all, she had suffered a lot with him over the past year. How could he really chase her away at a time like this? If you respect Miss Yun, I'll agree to let you stay. If you go against me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Chi-Su's aura surged out and pressed down on Shiyu in an overwhelming manner. Shiyu paled. She was almost pressed to the ground, but she didn't dare to say a word of resistance. You can leave. If there's nothing else, don't provoke Miss Yun. She's not someone you can afford to offend. Chi-Su waved his hand and said coldly. If Yun Luofeng could really take out so much spiritual fluid, then this woman was indeed not someone Shiyu could afford to provoke. Yes, sir. Shiyu stood up from the ground. She kept her head down, hiding the indignation and anger in her eyes. She slowly retreated. There were only 2 days left until the agreement between Chi-Su and the Chi family. In these 2 days, Yun Luofeng hid in the divine grimoire space to concoct spiritual fluid at night in order not to attract attention. During the day, she sat in the pavilion and read a medical grimoire. However, what puzzled Yun Luofeng was that in these 2 days, although Shiyu still looked at her with anger in her eyes, she no longer mocked or ridiculed her, nor did she chase her away. Yun Luofeng, who didn't know what happened, ignored Shiyu's change. Instead, she read the book in her hands seriously. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Today was the day the Chi family would sell the spiritual fluid. Chi-Su had been waiting for Yun Luofeng in the hall for a long time. He even dismissed all the servants and asked Chi-Ling to stand guard outside the door. From afar, he saw a woman in white walking towards him. At that moment, the sunlight shone on her face. It was so dazzling that one couldn't look away. Miss Yun, you're here? Chi-Su suppressed the surprise in his eyes and asked with a smile. Yun Luofeng flipped her palm and a space ring appeared in her palm. Her lips curled into a devilish smile, and her pair of pitch-black eyes were bottomless. This is the space ring. I've already placed all the spiritual liquid in this space ring. Now I'll give it all to you. Chi-Su's heart skipped a beat. His fingers trembled as he received the spatial ring. Miss Yun, what spirit liquid is this, and what effects does it have? Yun Luofeng looked at Chi-Su. An enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid. In the past, she had only brewed ordinary spirit-gathering liquid which was not very useful to the people of the cloudy continent. Therefore, she modified the old formula and invented this enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid. The enhanced version of the spirit-gathering liquid is very useful for those below the divine spirit realm. For example, a low-level Holy Spirit Realm cultivator would be able to break through to the mid-level Holy Spirit Realm in half a year after consuming the enhanced version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. A Holy Spirit's breakthrough was considered extremely difficult in the Seven Continents continent, but it was not difficult in the Wind Cloud continent. Even so, a Holy Spirit Realm cultivator's breakthrough would take at least a year. Yun Luofeng had said that it would take at most half a year. That meant that no matter how bad one's talent was, they would still be able to reach the mid-level Holy Spirit Realm in half a year. Talented experts would probably succeed in a month or so. Chapter 1798. Chi Su's breathing quickened. Are you telling the truth? There were as many Holy Spirit Masters as there were hairs on a cow on the Wind Cloud continent. It was precisely because there were so many of them that it indirectly proved the importance of the strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. The strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid is targeted at Holy Spirit Masters. It's best not to use it for those below the Holy Spirit stage. Otherwise, if the medicinal effects are too strong, they might explode and die. That's why I've also prepared a normal version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid. Anyone can use it. Yun Luofeng's lips curled. Of course, the strengthened version of the Spirit Gathering Liquid is of little value to a divine spirit. Even so, it can allow a cultivator to cultivate faster than before. Chi Su's fingers trembled as he held the ring tightly. He raised his eyes and fixed them on Yun Luofeng. What's your motive for helping me? I told you to help me find someone. Secondly, I'm short of money. Any silver from the sale will belong to me. In reality, Yun Luofeng was not short of money. However, if she wanted to increase her power, she needed to cultivate more precious spiritual herbs. Furthermore, she had another plan. These plans made her very short of money. All right, I can agree to all of your requests. Chi Su's heart was filled with excitement. By the way, do you want to go to the medicine shop with me? Yun Luofeng shook his head. No, you can settle those things yourself. Just bring me the gold coins. Chi Su nodded. Since that's the case, wait here for my good news. After saying this, Chi Su strode towards the door, pushed it open and slowly walked out. Big brother. Chi Ling saw Chi Su and called out in a soft voice. Her delicate face was filled with a cute smile. Xiao Ling, let's go. Chi Su held Chi Ling's hand with a determined smile on his face. From today onwards, I want the Chi family to be unable to do anything to me and my sister. The Chi family's medicine shop. Everyone from Maplewood Town and other small towns rushed over upon hearing the news, causing the entire medicine shop to be surrounded so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The shopkeeper was sweating profusely while dealing with the customers. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of Chi Su and his sister walking towards them from the back of the crowd. His eyes brightened. Young master, young lady, you're here? Uncle Zhao, you've worked hard. Leave the rest to me. Chi Su smiled and walked through the crowd into the medicinal hall. Uncle Zhao wanted to say something, but when he saw the calm smile on Chi Su's face, he subconsciously swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue and stood aside helplessly. Young Master Chi, is the spirit liquid that your Chi clan's medicine hall advertises real? A middle-aged man in the crowd asked. His words were filled with flattery and his eyes were filled with ridicule. Obviously, these people did not think that Chi Su could really take out any spiritual liquid. They came here today just to watch a joke. Chi Su smiled in response to the middle-aged man's question. He rubbed the space ring on his finger and a bottle of spiritual liquid immediately appeared in his hand. If you want to prove whether this spiritual liquid really has this effect, it's actually very simple. Someone, bring me a bathtub. As soon as he finished speaking, two burly men carried a bathtub in from outside. The bathtub was filled with water, and it was still emitting steam, which permeated the entire medicinal hall. Chapter 1799. This spirit liquid is used for bathing. Mix it into the bathtub. At this moment, if you cultivate while sitting in the bathtub, your cultivation speed will increase by a lot. Chi Su smiled as he walked to the side of the bathtub. He opened the bottle cap and poured a fifth of the spiritual liquid into the bathtub. In that instant, the originally transparent water turned a light green and emitted a rich spiritual energy. This spiritual energy is so rich. The middle-aged man who had mocked Chi Su earlier shuddered and quickly closed his eyes. He could feel the spiritual energy entering his internal organs through his pores. He felt extremely comfortable. If you want to prove whether the spiritual liquid is real or not, You just need to go in and cultivate. You can cultivate for half a month after adding the spiritual liquid. If you think it's really beneficial, you can buy it again. Chi-Su took back the bottle and capped it. There was a faint smile on his face, and he looked calm and composed. Let me try first. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he rushed to the bathtub. But before he could reach the side of the bathtub, a rough arm stopped him and threw him out. Get out of my way. Let me do it. The rough-looking man jumped into the bathtub without giving the others a chance to react. He did not even take off his clothes and quickly sat down cross-legged to cultivate. After a long while, he suddenly opened his eyes and let out a roar. Awesome! This is awesome! The spiritual energy was so rich that it seemed like it could turn into spring water and enter his body through the opening and closing pores. Boom! In an instant, the man's aura soared and formed a huge storm above his head. He broke through. Everyone was stunned and their faces were filled with shock. Even Chi-Su was shocked by this sudden turn of events. He only reacted after a while. If I'm not wrong, this guest was already on the verge of a breakthrough. Our enhanced version of the spirit gathering liquid can allow a beginner Holy Spirit to reach the mid-level within half a year at the very latest. Since he was already on the verge of a breakthrough, he only needed an opportunity to succeed. I'm honored that my spirit gathering liquid has become that opportunity. He had to admit that his luck was really good. Usually, the effects of the spirit gathering medicinal fluid could only be determined after a long period of time. But he just had to encounter a person who was about to make a breakthrough. Normally, a spiritualist would need powerful spiritual chi to break through a bottleneck, and the spiritual chi given to him by the spirit gathering medicine was just right for him to break through. That was what allowed him to break through. Ha ha ha. The coarse man let out a hearty laugh. I was right to come to Maplewood Town this time. Young Master Chi-Su, how much is your spirit gathering liquid? Chi-Su squinted his eyes. The enhanced version of the spirit gathering liquid, 80 million taels. 80 million taels was not a small sum even to the people of the Windy Cloud continent. The burly man was obviously shocked. He frowned and said, I didn't prepare well when I went out this time. I didn't know that I would encounter such a good thing. I wonder if young Master Chi-Su can give us time to prepare? I'll raise the money. After all, these people weren't from the great clans of the Imperial City. It would be very difficult for them to fork out this sum of money all at once. All right. Chi-Su was silent for a moment before he nodded. You can pay the deposit first. The deposit for a bottle of spiritual liquid is 10 million taels. Once you've collected the money, you can come to Maplewood Town to collect the spiritual liquid. Haha, thank you, young Master Chi-Su. I want to reserve 2 bottles. Chapter 1800. A bottle of spirit liquid could be used 5 times. Each use would last for half a month. In other words, a bottle of spirit liquid could only last for 2.5 months. That was why the burly man ordered 2 bottles at once. Young Master Chi, me too. I don't have much money, so I'll order a bottle first. TSK, you poor wretches. What's the use of 1 bottle? Young Master Chi, give me 5 bottles. Of course, I'll reserve 1 as well. I'll gather the rest of the money when I get back. Chi-Su's heart was filled with excitement as he looked at the crowd. He raised his hand and stopped the noisy crowd. Everyone, this enhanced version of spirit gathering medicinal liquid is only targeted at Holy Spirit Realm cultivators. Although Divine Spirit Realm cultivators can also use it, the effects are useless. The crowd immediately fell silent as they listened to Chi-Su's words. The effects are useless? Even so, everyone still firmly believed that even if a god spirit expert consumed it, it would still be able to increase their cultivation speed. They did not draw anything because they believed that Chi-Su had more to say. However, as expected, Chi-Su paused for a moment. The enhanced version of spirit gathering medicinal liquid cannot be used by those below Holy Spirit Realm. Otherwise, their bodies will immediately explode and they will die. What? The crowd turned pale with fright. A man was even more dejected. I wanted to let my son use it. He's only 10 years old and hasn't reached Holy Spirit Realm yet. If he can use the spirit gathering medicinal liquid, he will definitely reach Holy Spirit Realm in a short period of time. Me too. Although my son has just been born, I need to make preparations for him too. Chi-Su chuckled when he saw their dejected expressions. Have you all forgotten what this spirit gathering medicinal liquid is called? This is the enhanced version of Spirit Gathering Medicinal Liquid. Since there's an enhanced version, there must be a normal version as well. The normal version is cheaper. You can buy one bottle for 30 million taels of silver. One bottle can be used 8 times. This normal version of Spirit Gathering Medicinal Liquid is targeted at those below Holy Spirit realm. The dejected crowd immediately became excited when they heard Chi Su's words. Young Master Chi Su, what are you waiting for? I want 3 bottles of the enhanced version of Spirit Gathering Medicinal Liquid. As for the normal version, give me 10 bottles. The price of the enhanced version of the Spirit Gathering Potion is too high. I'd better order 1 bottle for my own use. I can order 20 bottles of the normal version. In the beginning, everyone came here with the attitude of watching a show. No one thought that the Chi family's medicinal hall would have such a popular day. What elixir! Compared to the spiritual liquid, it wasn't even worth mentioning. No matter how outstanding the effects of your elixirs are, they can at most strengthen your cultivation, strengthen your body, or cure all kinds of diseases. Could it help people break through on the spot like the spiritual liquid? That was obviously impossible. Out of the way, out of the way! Just as the crowd was in an uproar, an arrogant voice came from outside the crowd. Can't you see that our young master is here? Hurry up and get lost. Behind the crowd, Chi-Mo waved his folding fan gently with a sinister smile on his feminine face. He looked at the medicinal hall that was filled with people, and his lips curled into a mocking smile. Originally, the matter of Chi Su selling the spiritual liquid was only known to everyone in Maplewood Town. People in other places were not aware of it. It was he who had purposely spread the news on behalf of Chi Su, all for the sake of today's scene. Later, he would expose Chi Su on the spot and snatch the spiritual liquid formula back. Just as Chi-Mo was about to squeeze into the medicinal hall, he angered a burly man in front of him. He raised his hand and pushed Chi-Mo away. Chapter 1801. Why are you cutting the queue? Hurry up and line up. Chi-Mo's expression froze. He suppressed the anger in his heart and gritted his teeth. Do you know who I am? The burly man had always been fearless. When he heard this, he looked at Chi-Mo in disdain. I don't care who you are. You're not allowed to cut the queue. Either line up properly or scram. At that moment, the burly man's voice attracted the attention of everyone in front. Everyone turned around and looked at Chi-Mo with contempt and anger. Who knew how much spirit-gathering liquid Chi Su had? If someone else had said it all, wouldn't they lose it? That was the spirit-gathering liquid that could help a holy spirit break through. How could they allow someone to cut the queue? No matter who the other party was, they had to line up and wait. Chi-Mo's face turned ashen. I've lived for so many years, but no one has ever dared to speak to me like this. Someone, chase these people out. His words completely infuriated everyone. Where did this idiot come from? We don't care who you are today, you're not allowed to cut the queue. How dare you chase us out? Do you not want us to get the spirit-gathering liquid? One of the people in the queue said as if he wanted to see the world in chaos. Initially, Chi-Mo only wanted to chase them away to vent his anger. However, he said that Chi-Mo wanted to take the spirit-gathering liquid for himself and not leave a single one for them. How could he do that? The group of people glared at Chi-Mo angrily as if they would tear him into pieces if he dared to take a step forward. Actually, it was Chi-Mo's fault for spreading the news to Chi Su. The people from Maplewood Town were not strong enough. The guards he brought were enough to fight against them. However, at that moment, he could feel that a few people in the group were emitting powerful energy. That power made him a little afraid. It was obvious that those experts did not belong to Maplewood Town. Chi-Mo gritted his teeth. Chi Su, get out here. Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you're hiding inside. A year has passed, and the Chi family's medicine hall is still half dead because of you. You've already lost. Hand over Chi Ling immediately, and I'll spare your life. In the medicinal hall, the Chi siblings had already heard Chi-Mo's voice, but they ignored him. Now, his arrogant voice was heard again, causing Chi Ling's body to tremble. She subconsciously tightened her grip on Chi Su's hand, and fear appeared in her eyes. Don't be afraid, little Ling, Chi Su patted Chi Ling's little hand comfortingly. I'll go out and take a look. You stay here. With that, he looked up at Uncle Zhao. Uncle Zhao, Please take care of Xiao Ling. Chi Su pushed Qi Ling's hand away and walked out of the medicinal hall. Chi Mo was still shouting at the top of his lungs with a flushed face. Chi Su, you coward. You can't afford to lose. I really don't know why Yunyue Qing would accept an idiot like you as his disciple. If he's going to accept someone, he should accept me. Yes, in his heart, he had always thought that Chi Su could not compare to him. He was even more jealous of Chi Su for having such a powerful master. That was also why Chi Mo treated Chi Su like that after Yunyue Qing disappeared. Are you calling me? A cold voice came from the medicine hall. Chi Mo looked up and saw Chi Su, who was dressed in a brocade robe, walking out of the door. His handsome face was cold as he stared at him. Chi Su, you're finally here. Chi Mo sneered. You've already lost. Leave Qi Ling to me. Chapter 1802. Are you sure I lost? Chi Su smiled faintly and asked. Is there a need to ask? Chi Mo's feminine face was filled with arrogance. Do you think that you won just because you used the spiritual liquid to attract so many people? To tell you the truth, I was the one who helped you publicize the sale of the spiritual liquid. Otherwise, how would I have the chance to expose you? Chi Su narrowed his eyes. Then should I thank you? If it weren't for Chi Mo, he wouldn't have ordered so much spiritual liquid. How dare you be so stubborn at a time like this? Chi Mo curled his lips mockingly. The reason why the spiritual liquid is called spiritual liquid is because it needs to be extracted from spiritual herbs. If you replace the spiritual herbs with ordinary herbs, you'll be deceiving the customers. Chi Su, father is already angry. If you personally send Qi Ling to the Chen family, I'll help you persuade father to forgive you. He had to make Chi Su personally send Qi Ling out. That way, he would suffer for the rest of his life. At that moment, Chi Mo didn't notice that everyone looked at him with disdain when they heard what he said. It was as if he had said something stupid. Chi Mo, how do you know that my spiritual liquid isn't made from spiritual herbs? Chi Su sneered and asked in a disdainful tone. Ha ha. Chi Mo laughed maniacally. Spiritual herbs? Why would you wait until today if you had spiritual herbs? Chi Su, do you think I'm stupid? Moreover, the spiritual herbs in Drifting Wind Nation were all controlled by the Qi family. The few scattered drug dealers wouldn't go against the Qi family and sell him spiritual herbs. If that was the case, where did she get these spiritual herbs from? Come, let me see what your spiritual liquid is. Chi Mo sneered and walked past the crowd to the medicine hall. Since the customers knew Chi Mo's identity, they didn't stop him this time. Instead, they stood by the side and watched the show. In the medicine hall, Qi Ling saw Chi Mo walking into the medicine hall. Her body trembled and she quickly used Zhao Shu's body to block herself. Chi Mo didn't look at Qi Ling and walked in. Where's the spiritual liquid? Hand it over now. Finally, someone in the crowd couldn't stand it anymore and said, Young Master Qi, isn't the spiritual liquid in that bathtub? Your Qi family controls so many spirit herbs, yet you still can't recognize the spirit liquid? Chi Mo's expression changed. He glanced at the person who spoke coldly before walking to the bathtub. Uncle Zhao shook his head helplessly as he watched Chi Mo walk toward the bathtub. Compared to the outstanding second young master of the Qi family, Chi Mo was a good-for-nothing. She really didn't know what the family head was thinking. He chased the outstanding second young master Qi out and planned to hand the family business to the useless Chi Mo. This was tantamount to leading the Qi family, which had just become strong with great difficulty, into a dead end once again. This is the spiritual liquid you were talking about? It's just some. Before Chi Mo could finish his sentence, his expression froze. He was indeed a hopeless case, but even so, he could still distinguish between ordinary herbs and spirit herbs. Therefore, when he felt the spiritual energy contained in the bathtub, his expression became extremely ugly, and he turned to Chi Su angrily. Chi Su, where did you get these elixirs from? Did you steal them from the Qi family? Chi Su smiled faintly as Chi Mo gritted his teeth. I left the Qi family's house. You searched me and stole my spatial ring. Now, you're saying that I stole them from the Qi family? Chapter 1803. That spatial ring was given to him by his master. The items inside were extremely precious, but they were forcefully taken away by the Qi family. He even shamelessly claimed that he was bald when he was born in the Qi family. When he left, he had to be bald too. Everything on him belonged to the Qi family. Therefore, not only had his spatial ring been taken away, but his clothes had also been stripped. Fortunately, a friend had lent him a set of luggage. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to walk into Maplewood Town safely. You said that you didn't take anything from the Qi family. Where did you get the method to concoct the spiritual liquid? Mo stared at Su sinisterly. His gaze was like a venomous snake coiling around his neck. Young Master Qi. The man who mocked Mo earlier continued, you said that this spiritual liquid belongs to the Qi family, but what evidence do you have? If the Qi family really has this, why haven't you used it before? This. Mo's expression changed and he said shamelessly, these formulas must belong to Su's master, but he actually hid them. Doesn't that mean that he stole something from the Qi family? And these spiritual herbs should belong to the Qi family. Su's mother had stolen his mother's position. How could she still have these things? Ha ha. The man laughed. You also said that the spiritual liquid formula came from second young Master Qi's master. This is the first time I've heard that his master's item should not be given to him, but to you. He accepted his master's inheritance, so it's equivalent to stealing your things? This is the first time I've met such a shameless person. Su looked at the man gratefully. He did not expect that someone would say such words without fear of the Qi family's status. Indeed, as soon as the man finished speaking, Mo's murderous gaze shot towards him. There was a bone-piercing coldness in his eyes. How dare you humiliate the Qi family? The man smiled fearlessly. Those who humiliate others will be humiliated by others. If young Master Qi wasn't so shameless, why wouldn't I be able to stand it? Mo was about to flare up when the man walked in front of Su and cupped his fists in a friendly manner. Second young Master Qi. I'm from the kingdom of Tianqi. You can just call me Second Brother Qi. I came to the country of Drifting Wind to train, so I came when I heard that there were spiritual herbs for sale here. Someone from the kingdom of Tianqi? And his surname was Qi? Su's eyes flashed with surprise. No wonder he dared to be afraid of Mo. There was only one person with the surname Qi in the state of Tianqi, and that was the royal family of the state of Tianqi. Mo obviously did not think of that and continued to clamor. I don't care where you come from. Anyone who offends me deserves to die. At this moment, Uncle Zhao's face was completely red. He was a member of the Qi family, so it was only right for him to obey the Qi family's orders. However, if he had to choose, he would choose Su. This Mo was too stupid. The other party was obviously a member of the royal family of the state of Tianqi. He actually ignored this point and even dared to clamor in front of him. And there was only one person who could call himself Old Qi, the second prince of Tianqi. Su also thought of this and said respectfully, Second Master Qi, what else do you want to say? This man was about 30 years old, while Su was only a teenager. It was not an exaggeration to call him Second Master. Moreover, the other party obviously did not want to be known as a prince. Otherwise, he would not call himself Second Brother Qi. Young Master Qi, I want you to provide me with a large amount of spiritual liquid. Of course, I will buy it at the original price. How about it? Second Brother Qi narrowed his eyes and asked with a smile. Chapter 1804. This. Su was stunned. It's very difficult to concoct the spiritual liquid. Can you let me go back and think about it? He could not make a decision casually. He had to ask Yun Luofeng first. That was why Su did not agree to it. All right, I'll stay in Maplewood Town for the time being. You can send someone to inform me if you've made up your mind. Second Master Qi smiled and glanced at Mo. Of course, I'll be more than happy to help you if you need my help. No need. I'll settle the matters at home myself. There's no need to trouble Second Master Qi. All right. Second Master Qi nodded and did not say anything else. I'll take my leave then. I'll wait for your news. After saying that, Second Master Qi flicked his sleeves and left. At the same time, a few experts in the crowd followed him and left. Mo found it difficult to breathe when Second Master Qi glanced at him just now. He only regained his breath after he left. Su, I'll give you one last chance. Are you going to hand over the spiritual liquid formula or not? Don't forget that your master, Yun Yueqing, has been living off the Qi family for 10 years. Father has never asked her for a single cent. This spiritual liquid formula can be used to repay the debt. That was what he had thought of before, so he said it naturally. Chi-Su was so angry that he laughed. Chi-Mo, do you know what the Chi family's status was 10 years ago? My master has never given the Chi family a single cent. However, the few mountains that your family controls were obtained from her. Father was able to break through to his current realm because of her help. Do you dare to say that she has been living off the Chi family for 10 years? Chi-Su's eyes were filled with anger when he said that. The crowd was also enraged by Chi-Mo's shameless words. I didn't know that the Chi family was so shameless. They relied on their master to become rich, yet they dared to say that their master was living off the Chi family without paying. If I were second young Master Chi's master, I would never help this heartless Chi family. TSK, actually, it's not his master's fault. I heard that when his master was around, the Chi family was filial and prosperous. Chi-Mo also prioritized Chi-Su over everything. Who would have thought that second young Master Chi's master would reveal her true colors after disappearing for 3 years? Drifting Wind Country was only so big. Of course, everyone knew about the Chi family's affairs, but no one bothered to do anything about it. It was just that they didn't dare to talk about it back then. It was only after Chi Lauer made the first move that they spoke their minds. Chi-Mo's face turned from green to red, and then from red to white as if it had been dyed. He fiercely glared at Chi-Su. Chi-Su, just you wait. I'll get my father to look for you when I get back. If my father asks you for the formula, would you dare to refuse? If you don't, you'll be unfilial. I've already been kicked out of the Chi family. In other words, if he was kicked out of the Chi family, they would have nothing to do with him. Chi-Mo snorted and led the group of people from the Chi family out of the medicine hall. Anyway, this formula would belong to the Chi family sooner or later, and the Chi family would belong to him sooner or later, so he was not in a hurry. Without the protection of the Chi family, Chi-Su would not be able to defeat him. Big brother. After Chi-Mo left, Chi-Ling walked out from behind Uncle Zhao and tugged at Chi-Su's sleeve worriedly. Chi-Su squatted down and rubbed Chi-Ling's little head. Xiaoling, it's all in the past. I won't allow anyone to hurt you. Yes, I believe in you. An innocent smile appeared on Chi-Ling's little face. In this world, apart from Aunt Yun, she trusted her brother the most. Chapter 1805. However, now there was another Yun Luofeng. The young Chi-Ling would never forget that Yun Luofeng had given her brother the spiritual liquid and that it was Yun Luofeng who had helped them. Hence, in her little heart, there was room for a woman she had not known for long. In the side courtyard, Yun Luofeng was sitting in a pavilion, holding a book and leaning lazily against a pillar. The sunlight shone on her face, making her look both beautiful and demonic. Shiyu was standing not far away, waiting for Chi-Su, occasionally glaring at Yun Luofeng. This was a crucial day that would decide whether Chi-Ling would be sold. How could this woman be so calm? Besides, the young master had saved her. Was she not worried for the young master and young lady? As expected, she would not worry about something that had nothing to do with her. Shiyu bit her lip. She really did not know why the young master wanted to keep such a useless woman. Just as Shiyu was feeling indignant, 2 familiar figures appeared in front of her, causing her eyes to light up. Young master, young lady, you're back? Sister Yun. Chi-Ling saw Yun Luofeng, who was reading a book, and her big eyes shone brightly. She lifted her short legs and skipped over to him. From beginning to end, it was as if she had not seen Shiyu at all. Shiyu's expression froze and a wave of anger rose in her heart. The young master was like this and the young lady was the same. She really did not know what kind of charm this woman had. Besides, in the past, the young lady liked to pester her. Because of this woman's appearance, even the young lady's gaze would only fall on her. Sister Yun, I finally don't have to be sold by the Chi family. Chi-Ling's little face lit up with a bright smile, looking innocent and pure. Yun Luofeng slowly put down the book in her hand and looked at Chi-Ling's bright smile. Her demonic and beautiful face also lit up with a faint smile. She raised her hand and gently stroked the little girl's little head. Her pitch-black eyes seemed to shine. Then, I should congratulate you and your sister. Chi-Ling had wanted to say that this was all thanks to Yun Luofeng, but she suddenly remembered that Shiyu was still here. She swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue. Although Shiyu was given to her by Aunt Yun, Sister Yun had said that this matter could not be told to anyone other than the siblings. Not even the people around Big Brother. Thinking of this, Qi Ling pursed her lips. Sister Yun, will you stay in the Qi family forever? Her crisis had been resolved. Perhaps Sister Yun would leave this place. Yun Luofeng's hand, which was stroking Qi Ling, paused for a moment. He smiled and said, when I find the person I'm looking for, I'll leave. Qi Ling lowered her head in disappointment. Even though she did not want Big Sister Yun to leave the Qi family, she still hoped that she would be able to find the person she was looking for as soon as possible. Qi Su, who was standing quietly in the pavilion, slowly turned his gaze to Yun Luofeng. His handsome face was filled with gentle lines. In all these years, apart from her master and him, this was the first time Xiao Ling had relied on someone like this. Even in front of her mother, she had never felt this way. Shiyu, you can leave first. Qi Su thought of second brother Qi's request and frowned. He glanced at Shiyu and said plainly. Shiyu's body stiffened. Her eyes filled with anger. In the end, she bit her lip and lowered her head. Yes, young master. Chapter 1806. Before leaving, Shiyu didn't forget to glare at Yun Luofeng fiercely. Qi Su's mind was filled with second brother Qi's matters, so he didn't notice Shiyu's final glare. After Shiyu left, he quickly walked to Yun Luofeng's side. Miss Yun, I met the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi in the medicine hall today. The second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi? Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered as he asked, what is he doing here? The second prince wants us to provide him with a large amount of spirit-gathering liquid. He will buy it at the original price, but I didn't agree immediately. I said that I needed to think about it. Qi Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. After all, Yun Luofeng was the one who had provided the spirit-gathering liquid, so he didn't know how much Yun Luofeng still had. That was why he didn't agree so easily. Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment. Within a month, I can provide him with 50 bottles of strengthened spirit-gathering liquid and 100 bottles of ordinary spirit-gathering liquid. If he can agree, we can do this business. All right, I will reply to him later. Qi Su smiled. Obviously, he also wanted to accept this business deal from the second prince. Qi Su, you don't have to give me the gold coins you earned from selling the spirit liquid today. I still need you to buy some items for me. Yun Luofeng's eyes flickered. The Windy Cloud continent wasn't the 7 continents after all. Many plans that couldn't be carried out in the 7 continents could be carried out successfully here. Please speak, Miss Yun. Qi Su stood respectfully in front of Yun Luofeng. Perhaps it was because of the spirit-gathering liquid, but he was filled with reverence for the woman in front of him. I will write down the items I need on a piece of paper. You can buy them for me. Also, ask the second prince to stay for now. I want to see him personally in a month. Yun Luofeng's fingers lightly tapped on the stone table. Her slightly narrowed eyes shone with light. The corners of her lips curled up, forming a silent smile. The spirit god continent was too powerful. So powerful that she couldn't match it. Fortunately, the Windy Cloud continent had become a space for her to train. Because of this, she would make good use of this opportunity and make the Windy Cloud continent her backing. The news that Maplewood Town's Qi Clan's medicinal hall was selling spirit liquid had spread from that day onwards, and there were even more people from other places who were attracted by its fame. Uncle Zhao was extremely busy, but he had a long-lost smile on his face. Even Qi Su's guards were sent to help out. It was clear how popular the Qi Clan's medicinal hall was. Of course, some people were happy, while others were angry. In the Qi family's main hall, Qi Zhang slammed his palm on the table. The veins on his forehead bulged as he angrily shouted, Qi Su, that unfilial son, he doesn't even listen to my orders. Does he want me, his father, to go to a small place like Maplewood Town to find him? Within this 1 month, Qi Zhang had repeatedly ordered Qi Su and his sister to return to the Qi family. However, Qi Su had ignored his orders. This ignited the anger in his heart. If Qi Su was in front of him now, he would definitely not be able to control himself and slap this unfilial son to death. Dad, Qi Su is clearly looking down on you. Qi Mo sneered. He even claimed that he's no longer a member of the Qi family. Impudent. Qi Zheng's face turned ashen and his entire body trembled. The Qi family has raised him for so many years. Now that he doesn't need the Qi family anymore, he can just kick us away? I want to see if he can still refuse to hand over the formula if I, his father, personally go to find him. Chapter 1807. In fact, Qi Zheng wasn't so angry because Qi Su was unfilial. Instead, Qi Su had something as good as the spirit liquid formula, but he didn't give it to him. That was unforgivable. Men, follow this patriarch to Maplewood Town. This time, I want everything from the Qi family's medicinal hall back, not just the formula of the spirit liquid. Father. Qi Mo's eyes flickered. The Qian family sent someone here again. They want Qi Ling to be Old Man Qian's concubine. The Qian family will give her 100 spirit herbs as a betrothal gift. 100 spirit herbs? Qi Zheng was stunned. Greed flashed across his eyes, but he fell silent. A year ago, I said that I would marry Qi Ling to Old Man Qian, but you insisted on sending them to Maplewood Town first. You even made such a ridiculous agreement for Qi Su. Now that you've lost to Qi Su, how are you going to bring Qi Ling back? Qi Zheng regretted it at the thought of this. Qi Ling was just a good-for-nothing. She was useless in the Qi family. The Qi family had already made a profit by using her to exchange for 100 spirit herbs. Dad, marriage is a big deal. It's the parents' decision. As Qi Ling's father, what right does she have to disobey who you want her to marry? Qi Mo sneered. As for my agreement with Qi Su, can't I just deny it? That's the only way. Qi Zheng glanced at Qi Mo and said, also, get ready to bring your mother back in a few days. Qi Mo froze and looked at Qi Zheng in disbelief. His eyes were filled with joy. Father, is what you said true? You want to clear my mother's name? Mo-er. Qi Zheng looked at Qi Mo with a pained expression. You and your mother have suffered too much all these years. The Qi family is powerful enough now, and Yun Yueqing is no longer around. I should make it up to you. He paused and said, I know you're jealous that Yun Yueqing took Qi Su as his disciple. However, so what if he's Yun Yueqing's disciple? You're the eldest son of the Qi family. All the Qi family's finances will belong to you. Father, I understand. It's just that I've been separated from mother for so many years. This is indeed my fault for separating you and your mother. In the future, I will use the rest of my life to make it up to you. He felt that the worst thing he had done was to separate Qi Mo and his mother. However, he did not feel that it was wrong to strangle his own son, who asked all the flowers in the courtyard to wither when that kid was born. If such an inauspicious person were to live, it would definitely affect the Qi family's career. Look, if it wasn't for that brat's death, how could the Qi family have its status today? Therefore, Qi Zheng was very glad that he had decisively strangled Qi Su's brother back then. He also believed that Qi Mo's arrival in the Qi family had brought luck to the Qi family. That was why the Qi family had become second only to the royal family in such a short time. If Yun Yueqing knew that the Qi family he had helped had such thoughts, would he regret his actions? Father, when are we going to take back what belongs to our Qi family? No. It should be said that he wanted to take back what belonged to him. Qi Zheng's face sank little by little, and a trace of ruthlessness flashed through his sharp eyes. I'll set off for Maplewood Town in a moment. I want to see if that unfilial son has the guts to defy me. Maplewood Town. Qi Su and his sister did not know about the commotion in the Qi family. They did not expect Qi Zheng to come personally. Chapter 1808. At this moment, Qi Su was standing at the door of Yun Luofeng's room, waiting. After a while, the door was slowly pushed open, and a woman in white entered his sight. Qi Su's eyes lit up. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly realized that there were 3 women behind Yun Luofeng. The 3 of them were expressionless. Their faces were paralyzed, and their eyes were lifeless. They were like puppets in human form. Miss Yun, these people are. Qi Su was startled as he looked at the 3 young women in astonishment. His eyes were filled with astonishment. When did these people appear in Miss Yun's room? Why didn't he know? Moreover, the pressure from these 3 women was too strong, so strong that it made one's heart tremble. Deity? Qi Su's body trembled. If he guessed correctly, these 3 women were at the deity realm. Let's go. Aren't we going to see the second prince of Tianqi? Then let's go now. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up as she glanced at Qi Su. See the second prince? Then these 3 women. Qi Su didn't understand what Yun Luofeng wanted to do, especially since a month ago, she asked him to buy a pile of meteoric iron to forge weapons for her. After he bought the meteoric iron, she hid in her room and didn't come out again. After she appeared, there were 3 more women? No. Chi-Su suddenly seemed to feel something. Her eyes were filled with shock. Miss Yun, these women aren't breathing. Yes. These 3 women weren't breathing. Whether it was humans or spirit beasts, as long as they were alive, they would breathe. If they weren't breathing, then there was only one situation. Puppets? You guessed it. Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. These 3 people are my masterpieces in a month, puppets. Back then, Yun Luofeng's strength was relatively low, so the azure wings she made were only at the Holy Spirit realm. Now that her strength had increased, the puppets she made had also reached the deity realm. However, these 3 are failures. I plan to sell them to the second prince. Chi-Su's eyes widened in shock. You sold your failures to the second prince. Won't the second prince settle the score with you? Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's lips curled up. Although it's a failure, the puppet's strength is at the divine spirit realm. Unlike humans, it doesn't feel pain, so it won't die. To be able to fight endlessly. Furthermore, I will never betray you. Do you think the second prince wouldn't like such a puppet? The reason why this puppet was a failure was because the material she asked Chi-Su to look for was still missing, a material called the meteoric iron core. The meteoric iron heart was extremely difficult to obtain. With Chi-Su's ability, she would not be able to obtain it. Therefore, she did not write it down. Back then, when she had created the azure wings, it was because Zhu Qian had left behind the meteoric iron heart in the illusion that the azure wings had advanced. However, Yun Luofeng had not expected him to advance by swallowing thunder and lightning. As for the 3 puppets in front of him, their strength would forever remain at the level of a deity, unable to break through. This was why Yun Luofeng called it a failure. Miss Yun, Chi-Su was silent for a moment before he said, you have these puppets, why don't you use them for yourself? Instead, you give them to the second prince? These things cannot be measured by price. In other words, selling the puppets would be too much of a loss. Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow. Not only do I want to sell them to the second prince, I also want to sell them on the mainland. Do you think that if there were puppets for sale on the mainland, those powerful people would give them up? Once they give them up, it would mean that they have lost to their competitors. Therefore, I believe that those powerful people would definitely form an army of puppets. Chapter 1809. Chi-Su's jaw dropped in shock. What is your goal in doing this? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes and laughed silently. Puppets will not betray their owners. Similarly, they will not betray me, the one who created them. If I send these puppets to the great families of the mainland, doesn't that prove that I already have all the forces in my hands? Chi-Su's body trembled as she looked at Yun Luofeng in shock. Could you imagine that in the future, the main forces of the great families would all be replaced with puppets? If these puppets were sent to the great families, wouldn't that mean that Yun Luofeng controlled the main forces of all the forces? Miss Yun, is this where your ambition lies? From the very beginning, Yun Luofeng had never wanted a small profit. She had always wanted the entire continent. Yes, my goal is this mainland. One day, she would take the entire mainland for herself. Chi-Su laughed bitterly. It's not just these puppets. The effects of the spirit-gathering liquid that you provided are also too strong. If you are the only one who can provide this liquid in the future, the forces of the mainland will not refuse if you ask them to work for you. Yun Luofeng smiled and did not answer Chi-Su. What she wanted was not for those forces to work for her. She needed an existence that could resist the spirit god mainland. For this, so what if she had to resort to any means? She only needed to protect herself and the people around her. That was enough. The second prince will be leaving tomorrow. Should we go and see him now? Chi-Su's eyes were filled with complex emotions, but there was also a hint of admiration. In the Windy Cloud continent, only Yun Luofeng would dare to say that she would take over the entire mainland. Even the top experts of the country would not dare to be so arrogant. However, Chi-Su had a feeling that the Windy Cloud continent would soon change because of Yun Luofeng's arrival. Fortune in. The man stood in front of the window with his hands behind his back. His dark eyes were filled with deep thought. His eyes were fixed on the bustling streets below. No one knew what he was thinking. Your Highness, the second young master of the Qi family has arrived. The guard's voice came from outside the door. The man's tightly furrowed brows relaxed as he smiled. He has finally arrived. Invite him in. Creak. The door was pushed open. The man slowly turned around and looked at Chi Su, who had just walked in. When he saw Yun Luofeng, who followed closely behind her, he unconsciously paused and said, "This lady is Second Master Chi. She's my friend. She's been staying at my house recently, so I brought her along." The man laughed. His smile was ambiguous. "So it's Second Young Master Chi's friend. Please have a seat." Second Brother Chi turned to look at Chi Su and asked, "How's Second Young Master Chi's preparation?" "I've brought 50 bottles of the enhanced version of the spirit gathering liquid and 100 bottles of the ordinary version." Chi Su took out a space ring and placed it on the table. "Please check it, Second Master Chi." "No need, I believe in you." Second Brother Chi smiled and took out a stack of banknotes from his lapel. He placed it in front of Chi Su. "This is the money I used to buy the spirit gathering liquid." Chi Su smiled and put away the banknotes. "Second Master Chi, there's something else I want to sell you." As soon as he finished speaking, Chi Su clapped his hands. In an instant, 3 women walked into the room. These 3 women were not considered beautiful. Instead, they exuded a steely heroic spirit and did not have the gentleness of ordinary women. Chapter 18:10. Second Brother Chi was stunned. His face darkened. "Second Young Master Chi, what do you mean? Am I that kind of lecherous person? Hurry up and get these women to leave. I have no interest in them." "Second Young Master Chi, you've misunderstood me. I want to sell these women to you because I want them to be your guards." As soon as Chi Su finished speaking, a powerful aura surged from the bodies of the few women. This aura caused Chi Lao Air to be startled and frowned slightly. "Deity? It's not like I don't have the protection of a deity. I'm afraid I won't accept these deities." At this moment, the woman in white sitting next to Chi Su suddenly said, "Feel them again. See if there's anything unusual about them." Hearing the woman's voice, Second Brother Chi turned his gaze to the woman in white again. He didn't take a good look at Yun Luofeng just now. Now that he looked, he realized that this woman was very beautiful. She had a demonic and peerless face, pitch-black bright eyes, and her slightly raised lips revealed an evil smile. Her white clothes set off her snow-white skin. Her black hair cascaded down her back like a waterfall. However, Second Brother Chi was not a lecherous person. He regained his composure after being stunned for a moment. "What do you mean?" Yun Luofeng raised the corners of his lips. "The second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi can't sense the uniqueness of these 3 women?" Second Brother Chi glanced at Yun Luofeng, then retracted his gaze and looked at the 3 women who were as still as mountains. After a while, he seemed to have sensed something and paused. Puppets? These 3 women didn't seem to be alive. This proved that they were puppets. "That's right. These are indeed puppets." Yun Luofeng's finger lightly tapped on the table. "There are indeed no deities around the second prince, but are you sure they won't betray you? For example, if someone captured their family, lover and child, would they still be loyal to you?" Everyone had weaknesses. Once these weaknesses were grasped by the enemy, they would be a fatal threat. Second Brother Chi's expression stiffened. Indeed, he couldn't guarantee that the people around him would always be loyal to him. But these puppets are different. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly. "They don't have life. They will only obey orders, so they will never betray you." Second Brother Chi fell silent. It had to be said that Yun Luofeng's words were indeed very tempting. Furthermore, Yun Luofeng paused, then continued, "These puppets will not only not betray you, they will not feel pain and will not die. With them you will have an undead army." The puppets had the same effect as Yun Luofeng's skeleton army. Without life, there would be no pain, and similarly, there would be no death. As long as his body wasn't smashed to pieces, no matter how severe the injury, he could still stand up and fight. "All right." Second Brother Chi was indeed tempted. "I want all 3 of these puppets. If you have other puppets, sell them to me as well." "I'm sorry, the number of puppets is limited for now. After a while, Chi Su will put the puppets on sale in the shop. You can buy them from the shop." Yun Luofeng faintly smiled and slowly stood up. "All right." Second Brother Chi nodded. "However, I have a request. No matter who you sell the puppet to, you can't sell it to the other princes of the kingdom of Tianqi." Chapter 1811. I can convince Chi Su to agree to this request. Yun Luofeng didn't agree. Instead, she pushed the matter to Chi Su. After all, she didn't want others to know that she had the ability to forge puppets. If there was a reason, Yun Luofeng didn't ask. Everyone had their own secrets. Moreover, second brother Chi was from the royal family. There must be some secrets involved. Naturally, she wouldn't ask. Young master, young master. At that moment, a panicked voice came from outside the door. Chi Su stood up hurriedly. With a bang, the door was pushed open, and Uncle Zhao stumbled in. Young master, something bad has happened. The family head has brought people from the Chi family here. Moreover, young mistress happened to go to the medicine hall and was captured by the Chi family. They said that they want to bring her back to old man Qian as a concubine. What? Chi Su's footsteps swayed, and he almost couldn't stand steadily. He turned around and cupped his fists at second brother Chi. Second master Chi, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first. With that, he rushed out of the door. His footsteps were as fast as the wind. Second brother Chi furrowed his brows. This Chi clan is really unreasonable. Besides, I just reached an agreement with Chi Su. I can't let Chi Su be defeated by the Chi family. Come with me to the Chi family's medicine hall. He wanted to see how the Chi family would bully him. Outside the medicine hall, there was a crowd. Chi Mo rushed into the medicine hall and dragged Chi Ling, who was hiding behind the counter, out. He slapped her delicate face. Chi Ling was stunned. Her innocent eyes were filled with tears, and her body was trembling. She bit her lips and didn't say a word. Bitch, how dare you hide? You're a piece of trash. The Chi family has raised you for so many years, but you're so ungrateful now. Chi Mo grabbed Chi Ling's hair and dragged her out of the medicine hall. Young mistress. Chi Su's subordinates wanted to stop them, but the group of experts brought by the Chi family blocked their way. They could only watch as Chi Ling was dragged out by Chi Mo. Chi Zhang stood outside the door and watched coldly. His expression was very ruthless. It was as if the person being abused and beaten by Chi Mo wasn't his biological daughter. Everyone. He caught a glimpse of the disdain in the eyes of the onlookers. He coughed dryly and said, although Chi Ling is my daughter, she should be taught a lesson for not learning good things at such a young age. Don't be fooled by the fact that she's only 5 years old. She's already learned how to seduce men. Now that the man has come to the Chi family to look for her, I have no choice but to bring her back. Chi Zhang shook his head with a helpless expression. As the saying goes, one should not wash one's dirty linen in public. Not to mention that Chi Ling had never done such a thing. Even if he had committed such a mistake, he would still say that his daughter seduced a man. Wasn't that equivalent to shaming the Chi family? Chi Ling's face was full of grievance, and big teardrops fell from her eyes. I didn't. At first, Chi Mo didn't understand what his father meant. After Chi Ling said that, he came back to his senses and slammed Chi Ling's head against the wall. Bitch, how dare you deny it? As your brother, I'll teach you a lesson today. Let's see if you dare to embarrass the Chi family again. Chi Ling's head was bleeding profusely. Her face was pale, and her body was trembling. Chapter 1812. Ahem. Chi Zhang coughed dryly and looked at Chi Mo reproachfully. You hurt this girl's face. What should we do? Even so, he didn't stop Chi Mo when he pressed Chi Ling's head against the wall. Chi Mo smiled sinisterly. The Chi family lacks other things, but we don't lack spirit herbs. No matter how badly she's disfigured, she can recover. However, we can't let her use this spirit herb for nothing. We have to make Chi Su pay for it. He had long wanted to give this damned girl a good beating and vent all the dissatisfaction he had felt towards Chi Su over the years on Chi Ling. Although there were many onlookers, no one stood up to help Chi Ling. They only pointed at her from the side. The fickleness of human nature was just like that. Chi Ling wept soundlessly. Her little face was already covered with tear stains and blood flowed continuously from her forehead. She looked at the crowded streets and her eyes were filled with despair towards this world. Bitch, even Chi Su can't save you this time. Chi Mo smiled coldly. She lifted Chi Ling's hair again and walked to Chi Zheng's side. Dad, let's get someone to send this girl back first. Send her back? These words caused Chi Ling to tremble all over. She, who had been silent all this while, suddenly opened her mouth and roared. No, I don't want to go back. Brother, save me. Sister Yun, save me. Qi Zheng frowned. This girl called Yun Yueqing Aunt Yun. Who was Sister Yun? However, Qi Mo didn't think too much about it. She threw Qi Ling aside and said to the Qi family's guards, "Send this girl back to the Qi family first." Yes, young master. A guard stepped forward and pulled Qi Ling's arm out of the crowd. Qi Ling did not know where she got the strength from, but she opened her mouth and bit the guard's arm. Feeling the pain, the guard loosened his grip. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Qi Ling quickly ran in another direction. Trying to run? Qi Mo's eyes were dark, and his footsteps were swift. Soon, he arrived beside Qi Ling and pressed down on her shoulder. Bitch, let's see where you can run to this time. Qi Ling's face turned pale. Suddenly, her eyes lit up when she saw two figures rushing towards them. Brother, Sister Yun. Qi Su saw Qi Ling, who was being held down by Qi Mo. His heart ached when he saw the red fingerprints on the girl's face and the blood flowing from her forehead. Little Ling. Whoosh. Before Qi Mo could come back to his senses, he heard a loud shout in front of him. Then, a hurricane came at him, causing him to take a few steps back. Qi Su hurriedly protected Qi Ling in his arms and glared at Qi Mo angrily. Then, he lowered his head and stared at the girl's red cheeks. His eyes were filled with guilt and pain. Little Ling, Big Brother didn't protect you well. Are you all right? Does the wound hurt? Qi Ling shook her head as she stared at Qi Su's nervous face. Her large eyes shone brightly as she raised her hand to gently wipe away the tears flowing down the young man's face. Big Brother, Little Ling doesn't hurt. Don't cry, it really doesn't hurt at all. Her cheeks and forehead were clearly hurting, but she couldn't say anything. That was because she couldn't let her brother be sad. Lady Yun, please help me take care of my little sister. Qi Su put Qi Ling down. He looked at Yun Luofeng and solemnly instructed. Originally, everyone's attention was on Qi Su, and no one noticed Yun Luofeng, who had followed behind. However, Qi Su's words made everyone turn to look at her. Chapter 1813. Qi Mo was shocked when he saw the woman in white. Of course, he wasn't shocked by Yun Luofeng's appearance. Instead, he was terrified. Similar. Too similar. This woman looked too similar to Yun Yueqing. If she wasn't 20 years younger, he would have suspected that Yun Yueqing had returned. Qi Mo. After Qi Su threw Qi Ling to Yun Luofeng, he slowly raised his head. His cold gaze was like a sharp blade that cut Qi Mo's bones. Back then, I made an agreement with you. If I could make the Qi family's medicinal hall a household name in Maplewood Town within a year, you would release Xiao Ling. Are you going back on your word now? At that moment, Qi Su's eyes were filled with killing intent. He wanted to rush over and kill Qi Mo. However, he also knew that he couldn't be impulsive. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. When he was strong enough, he would definitely make these people die a horrible death. Qi Mo was shocked by Qi Su's gaze. His face was pale, and it was difficult for him to breathe. Qi Zhang seemed to have sensed Qi Mo's discomfort. He frowned and quietly helped him resolve the pressure. His cold gaze landed on Qi Su's face like a knife. Qi Su, this isn't Moer's fault. It was my idea. Qi Su sneered. He no longer had any expectations for the Qi family after knowing their true colors. He wasn't surprised at all when he heard Qi Zheng's words. The ancient said that even a vicious tiger wouldn't eat its cubs. I really don't know why you forced us to die. His eyes were filled with anger, and his fists were clenched tightly. Forced you? Qi Zheng frowned. When did I force you? If Qi Ling hadn't been so careless, would so many things have happened? If she hadn't seduced the old master of the Qian family, would he have asked for her? What he meant was that the old man from the Qian family only liked Qi Ling because she was careless. If she had been reserved, how could he have wanted to marry her? So, it was the woman's fault that a man fancied a woman? Instead, it was the innocent who stole it? Qi Zheng, you seem to have forgotten that Qi Ling is only 5 years old. A 5-year-old girl seducing an old man? Was that even possible? Perhaps because he was too angry, Qi Su didn't even address the other party as father. Instead, he called him by his name. As expected, The way he addressed him made Qi Zheng's entire body tremble in anger. His handsome face was not angry, but it was imposing. How dare you? You unfilial son. How dare you be so unfilial? I gave you the Qi family's medicine hall in Maplewood Town out of affection for my father. I didn't expect you to repay me like this. Qi Zheng's expression was cold. Since that's the case, I'll take back this medicine hall now. Return everything in the medicine hall to me. Not only the formula for the spirit-gathering medicinal liquid, but also the money you earned from selling the medicinal liquid last time. Qi Zheng finally stated his intentions and held his chest high. He did not feel that there was anything wrong with what he had done. So what if Yun Yueqing had left the recipe for Qi Su? After all, the Qi family's medicine hall belonged to the Qi family. Hence, there was nothing wrong with him demanding to take back all the items in the medicine hall. Don't even mention the formula, we don't even have a single cent. Qi Su snorted and looked at Qi Zheng coldly. His gaze seemed to be looking at a stranger. Unfilial son. You really are an unfilial son. Qi Zheng angrily pointed at Qi Su. I order you in the name of your father to hand over everything. These are all for your older brother. As the eldest son of the Qi family, your older brother should inherit everything. You're the second son and I don't need anything from you. What right do you have to fight with your older brother? Chapter 18:14. Clap, clap, clap. The sound of clapping could be heard. Then, the man's mocking laughter could be heard. It was filled with contempt. This is the first time I've seen someone so biased. Your second son worked so hard for this achievement. Why should you give it away? Who do you think you are? How dare you meddle in the Qi family's business? Qi Zheng glared at Qi Lauer, who was walking over slowly, and asked through gritted teeth. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as he finished speaking, a few dark guards descended from the sky, pulled out their ice-cold swords, and placed them on his neck. Qi Zheng's face turned green. However, he did not dare to speak carelessly in front of someone else's sword. It's you again. Qi Mo recognized the man immediately. What's your relationship with Qi Su? Why are you helping him so many times? Qi Lauer sneered. I need to buy the spirit-gathering liquid from him. Of course I have to help him. Qi Zheng heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. If you want the spirit-gathering liquid, then it's easy. Get your men to let me go now. I'll give you the liquid after I get the formula. Qi Su was stunned when he heard that. He looked at Qi Lauer anxiously. He was afraid that Qi Lauer would agree to Qi Zheng's request. If that happened, his and Yun Luofeng's plan would be in vain. In comparison, Yun Luofeng remained calm and composed. Her hand gently stroked Qi Ling's back and her black eyes were calm without a ripple of emotion. Qi Ling hid in Yun Luofeng's embrace. She peeked out and looked at Qi Zheng and his son timidly. That's not a bad idea. After Qi Zheng's anticipation and Qi Su's nervousness, Qi Lauer suddenly smiled and said, But, he paused and his lips curled into a smile. Rather than working with the shameless Qi family, I'd rather choose Qi Su. At least I'm more assured of his character. Qi Zheng's expression changed instantly. He looked at Qi Lauer, who was so close to him, and his eyes shone with anger. Qi Su has no power or influence. My Qi clan has a lot of assets. If you give up on the Qi clan and choose to cooperate with Qi Su, you will definitely regret it. I don't know if I'll regret it or not, second brother Qi smiled, revealing his snow-white teeth, making him look cold. But I know that you'll definitely regret it. Get lost. Bang. Second brother Qi suddenly kicked Qi Zheng's chest, sending him flying in an instant. He straightened his sleeves, retracted his leg and coldly said, In the future if you step into Maplewood Town, I will find someone to break your leg. Qi Zheng was frightened by the strength of Qi Lauer's kick. He crawled up awkwardly and ran to the back. Qi Mo was also stunned. This time, he chased after Qi Zheng without waiting for second brother Qi to chase him away. Second young master Qi. Second brother Qi turned to face Qi Su and smiled. You said before that this is your family's matter and you don't want anyone to interfere. So, I didn't do anything to them. I only helped you chase them away. I believe that when you become stronger they will regret it. Qi Su's talent was the best in the Qi clan. Otherwise, Yun Yueqing would not have taken him in as a disciple. However, he was still too young and he still had a long way to go. As long as he was given time, the entire Qi clan would definitely be destroyed in his hands. That was why second brother Qi said that Qi Zheng would definitely regret it. Chapter 18:15. Little Ling Qi Su walked to Qi Mo's side, his eyes filled with heartache. Do you blame me for not settling the score with the Qi family? Qi Ling shook her head. Her little face was filled with determination. I know that you want to hide your strength and bide your time. When you're strong enough, you'll make sure that the Qi family never makes a comeback. My temporary grievances will only become your revenge in the future. She was born in a place like the Qi family. With Yun Yueching's instructions, how could Qi Ling be an ignorant little girl? It didn't matter that Qi Su didn't deal with the Qi family. After all, they weren't strong enough yet. Once he was strong enough, it would be the end of the Qi family. Little Ling, Master conquered the Qi family, so I will take back everything that belongs to us. Qi Su lowered his eyes, his gaze filled with malice. Master helped the Qi family increase their strength, so that the Qi family could become his shield and protect him for the rest of his life. As for the mountain range that Master had seized, he had given it to him. But who knew that after Master disappeared, those people would use their strength to force him to hand over the mountain range and threaten him with Little Ling. For his sister's safety, he could only give up his assets. Qi Su, Yun Luofeng muttered to herself for a moment, then suddenly said, since this medicine hall belongs to the Qi family, you should return it to them. In an instant, the people who had ignored Yun Luofeng turned to look at her. Uncle Zhao frowned, his tone clearly unfriendly. Miss, the Qi family's medicine hall has been managed by second young master for a long time. Why should it be given to those people? I know you're second young master's friend, but isn't it too much for you to decide for him? In comparison, second brother Qi seemed to have thought of something as well. He looked at Yun Luofeng with a hint of admiration. No wonder Qi Su had taken a liking to this woman. She had extraordinary abilities, and her considerations were more thorough than anyone else's. It was obvious that when second brother Qi saw that Qi Su had brought Yun Luofeng with him, he naturally thought that the two of them had a special relationship. He didn't think that she was the one who had concocted the spirit-gathering potion. This medicine hall belongs to the Qi family. Does the title deed also belong to the Qi family? Yun Luofeng ignored Uncle Zhao's words and continued to stare at Qi Su. Qi Su suddenly understood something and nodded. Indeed, the second prince has chased away the Qi family members on my behalf today. However, the Qi family medicine hall now belongs to the Qi family. Naturally, I can no longer work for the Qi family medicine hall. Qi Su smiled. Uncle Zhao, Miss Yun is a good friend of mine. Her suggestion is not bad. If you want to follow me, let's open another medicine hall. What do you think? In any case, within this month, the Qi family's medicine hall's medicinal herbs were basically sold out. He had a lot of money in his hands and had the capital to leave the Qi family. Only then did Uncle Zhao react. A look of shame flashed across his aged face. So this is Miss Yun's plan. This old servant has misunderstood Miss Yun. Indeed, the Qi family's medicinal hall belongs to the Qi family. No matter how great our achievements are, the Qi family will still be able to take it back. If that's the case, we might as well start another business. At this point, Uncle Zhao paused and continued, Young master, this old servant is willing to follow young master. I will never return to the Qi family to serve that idiot. All right. A smile appeared on Qi Su's face. Uncle Zhao, why don't we go to the Imperial City and open another medicinal hall? I want the Qi family to be unable to survive in the Imperial City. Chapter 18:16. He was now working with the second prince of the country of Tianqi. Coupled with the spirit-gathering liquid and the puppets, he believed that the Qi family would be destroyed by him in no time. Big brother. Qi Ling's heart tightened as she instinctively held Qi Su's hand and bit her lips. Are we going back to the Imperial City? That place could be said to be Qi Ling's nightmare. Now that she heard the two words Imperial City, her entire body trembled uncontrollably as her little face turned pale. Xiaoling, we had left in a sorry state back then. This time, we have returned with strength. Qi Su comforted Qi Ling's young heart. Besides, don't you want to see Mother? Qi Ling's body stiffened and she lowered her head. After a long while she raised her eyes. I don't want Mother, I want Aunt Yun. Qi Su smiled bitterly in exasperation. A year ago when he and Qi Ling had been chased away, Their biological mother had been powerless and could only watch as they left. But could she be blamed for this? In the past, because of Master's existence, even their mother had a high status in the Qi family. Qi Zhang had respected her very much. However, after Master had disappeared for a year, those people had concluded that Master had died and their mother's status was even lower than a servant girl's. Unfortunately, her talent was not good enough and Master could not help her raise her power. So, this matter really could not be blamed on her. Big brother, I don't want to be a good-for-nothing anymore. Qi Ling raised her head, her large eyes shining brightly. I want to cultivate. I will persevere no matter how painful it is. If I have the power, I can go to Nemesis Forest to find Aunt Yun. She must still be alive. Xiao Ling, your body won't be able to take it. Qi Su's heart trembled. He lowered his eyes to look at the girl in front of him, a trace of helplessness in his eyes. Big brother, I want to try again. In Qi Ling's little heart, she had always firmly believed that as long as she could cultivate, Yun Yueqing would definitely return to their side. Yun Luofeng stood next to the pair of siblings. His pitch-black eyes were deep as if he was thinking about something. Big brother, Linger is not afraid of pain or death. I just want Aunt Yun to return to my side. If Qi Ling was given another chance, she would not let Yun Yueqing take the risk. He would rather be a good-for-nothing for the rest of his life than to let her step into such a dangerous situation. But back then, Qi Ling was ignorant and didn't know what Yun Yueqing had done. It wasn't until later on that she gradually understood why this motherly woman had disappeared. If she wants to try, then let her try. Just as Qi Su was about to refuse, a voice suddenly sounded, startling him slightly. Very quickly, Qi Su regained his senses and shook his head with a bitter smile. Miss Yun, Xiao Ling's physique is a little special. It's extremely painful when she cultivates. If she forcefully cultivates, she will definitely die from blood loss. With that, his gaze landed on Qi Ling, and his eyes were filled with gentleness. When Linger had just turned 2, Master had wanted to teach her how to cultivate. At the same time, she had also discovered that there was something strange about her body. Hence, she had headed to Nemesis Forest in search of a spiritual herb called the 9-star spiritual fruit. This spiritual herb could help Xiao Ling forcefully cultivate. Who knew that she would never return? Yun Luofeng gently narrowed her eyes. She had discovered that aside from Qi Ling's special physique, her memory seemed to be extraordinary as well. Logically speaking, it was very easy to forget memories before the age of 2. However, she remembered them clearly and had a deep impression of Yun Yueqing. Chapter 1817. If you can trust me, give Qi Ling to me. I will help her. Yun Luofeng thought for a moment before raising his head and speaking. Forget about the 9-star spirit fruit. Even an ordinary 9-stars fruit was difficult to buy. She had to go to Nemesis Forest. Hence, he could only use other methods to help Qi Ling. Qi Su was stunned. He frowned and fell into deep thought. It was not that he did not trust Yun Luofeng, but it was impossible for Qi Ling to cultivate. Hence, after a moment of silence, he turned to look at Qi Ling. Xiao Ling should make her own choice. I can't make this decision on her behalf. Ever since the Qi family had retreated pathetically, the surrounding crowd had mostly dispersed. Aside from Qi Su's men, only second brother Qi's men remained. I want to follow Sister Yun. Qi Ling made this decision without hesitation. Even though Qi Su had already known about her decision, he was still shocked. Xiao Ling, have you really made up your mind? Qi Ling nodded. Her eyes turned red. I want to find Aunt Yun. I don't want to be sold off by father again. Since you've made up your mind, you must persevere on this path. Qi Su took a deep breath and patted Qi Ling's shoulder. No matter what, Big Brother will support you. Yun Luofeng raised his hand and pulled Qi Ling to his side. Only then did he raise his eyes to look at Qi Su. A faint smile appeared on his devilish face. I'm going to take her with me for a month. During this month, you should prepare for the trip to the Imperial City. Also, Yun Luofeng's words had been normal at first. However, in the end, the voice no longer traveled through his ears but directly exploded in his mind. A spiritual transmission. What shocked Qi Su even more was the content of the spiritual transmission. It was the formula for the spirit-gathering liquid. She had actually given the formula for the spirit-gathering liquid to him? And she was even asking him to brew the liquid? I'll leave my space ring in your care for the time being. I hope you won't disappoint me. Yun Luofeng took off the space ring and placed it in front of Chi Su. Chi Su scanned it with his spiritual power and was even more shocked. These are the spiritual herbs for brewing the spirit gathering liquid? Where did she get so many spiritual herbs from? More than the entire Chi family. However, Chi Su also knew what to ask and what not to ask, especially when there were so many people present. Therefore, he swallowed the question that was on the tip of his tongue. In his heart, he secretly decided that in this life, he would never betray Yun Luofeng, nor would he betray her trust. In reality, Yun Luofeng dared to give him the formula and spirit medicine, and it was not a reckless act. Firstly, this pair of siblings had once sworn an oath to the heavenly Tao. Secondly, Qiling was by her side. In this world, Qiling was undoubtedly Chi Su's most important family member. If he dared to give his sister to her, why wouldn't she dare to take out the formula? What's more, Chi Su was working for her. She firmly believed that if she doubted someone, she wouldn't use him. If she used him, she wouldn't doubt him. Since she had chosen him, she would not doubt it. Qiling, let's go. Yun Luofeng held Qiling's hand and turned to look at Chi Su. After a month, I will bring Qiling back to find you. Mountain range. It was extremely dangerous. In this mountain range full of brambles, the woman in white held a sword in her left hand and cut away the brambles that blocked the way. Her right hand was holding the hand of a little girl who looked like she was carved out of jade. Chapter 18:18. This is the depths of Lingchuan Mountain. There shouldn't be anyone here to disturb us. Qiling, are you ready? The white-robed woman stopped in her tracks and looked at the little Lolita beside her as she asked. The little Loli gently bit her lips, her big bright eyes filled with determination. I'm ready. Yun Luofeng smiled devilishly. I don't have a spirit fruit to help you, so it might be a little painful. If you can endure it, then you won't be useless anymore. Actually, from the moment he saw little Loli, Yun Luofeng knew what method to use to help her. However, the process was very painful. How could she endure it at such a young age? That was why Yun Luofeng had never mentioned helping her. It was only a few days ago outside the Qi family medicine hall when she said those words that Yun Luofeng decided to help her. Sister Ling is not afraid. Qiling's eyes shone brightly like the sun, filled with the light of hope. Then sit down and try to cultivate. You should know the method of cultivation. No matter how painful it is, you must endure it. I won't let you die. Yun Luofeng lowered his eyes to look at Qiling and said firmly. Okay. Qiling sat down cross-legged and recalled the cultivation method that Yun Yueqing had taught her. In that instant, spirit energy gathered in front of her and gradually formed a thick fog. The fog passed through Qiling's pores and tried to enter her body. At that moment, a sharp pain made Qiling's body tremble and her little face turn pale. At the same time, a hand was placed on her back. A warm energy passed through that hand and entered her body, alleviating her pain. However, Qiling's cultivation method was different from when Yun Xiao dug out her heart and extracted her blood. The spirit energy in the divine grimoire could make Yun Xiao feel no pain when he dug out her heart and extracted her blood, but it could not completely block Qiling's pain nerves. That was why every time a strand of spirit energy entered her body would twitch. She would bite her lip and not make a sound. Qiling, if you can't endure it, don't worry. I'll help you cultivate when I find a spirit fruit. Yun Luofeng's voice came from behind, but it did not shake Qiling's little heart. Because of the intense pain, she could only force out 4 words. I need to find Aunt Yun. She could not give up. Seeing her like this, Yun Luofeng didn't say anything else. She calmly transferred her spirit energy to Qiling. This spiritual aura couldn't relieve her pain, but it could save her life. As long as Qiling could successfully let the spiritual qi pass through her meridians, she wouldn't have to suffer so much pain in the future. This first step was extremely important. More and more spiritual energy gathered in her body. The spiritual energy wanted to forcefully break through her meridians. Due to the gathering of spiritual energy, Qiling's body began to tremble. In any case, Qiling was only a 5-year-old child. She could control herself and not make a sound, but she couldn't control her tears. Soon, her face was covered in tears. If it wasn't for the belief in her heart supporting her, she would have given up long ago. Time ticked by. The sky turned from dawn to dusk. Qi Ling was in so much pain that she almost fainted, but because of the spiritual power that Yun Luofeng transferred to her, her mind became abnormally clear again. Finally, just as Qi Ling was about to collapse, an explosion sounded out and her body fell backwards. Chapter 18:19. Just as she was about to fall to the ground, a pair of hands caught her from behind. Sister Yun, have I succeeded? The corners of Qi Ling's lips curled into a pitiful smile. Her pale little face was drained of blood and her breathing was very weak, as if it could disappear at any time. Yun Luofeng hurriedly took out a spiritual herb from the space and fed it to her. Once the spiritual herb entered her body, she gradually calmed down. Yes, you've succeeded. From now on, you're no longer a good-for-nothing. Qi Ling was not happy in the face of Yun Luofeng's words. She lowered her head and said dejectedly, "If I had grown up back then, I would never have let Aunt Yun take such risks. That way she wouldn't have left me and my brother." Sister, did you know? Aunt Yun is the person who treats me the best apart from my brother. She's even better than my mother. A year ago, when my brother and I were chased out of the Qi family, my mother was there watching. Qi Ling's head was still lowered. I know that she wasn't powerful enough to resist father. But why didn't she dare to say a word? Even if she had said a word, at least, I wouldn't have felt so bad. She did not hate her mother, nor did she blame her. She was only sad that her mother was too timid to say a word and could only watch as they left the Qi family. Even Aunt Yun, who was not related by blood, was willing to risk her life for her. Why was her mother so timid? Wasn't there a saying that goes, "A weak woman makes a strong mother"? If I have a child in the future, I will never let my mother be bullied. Luckily, I'm not a good-for-nothing in real life. In the future I can protect my brother. I still have to go to Nemesis Forest to find Aunt Yun. When she said the last sentence, Qi Ling's eyes shone brightly as if she had become a completely different person. Actually, even Yun Luofeng did not know that even though she and Qi Ling had only known each other for a short period of time, she had a very good impression of her. This kind of good impression was innate, and even she did not understand why she felt this way. Qi Ling, I've just transferred a lot of spiritual energy into your body. This spiritual energy is very pure and it's still in your body. Now, absorb it and it will help you increase your power. Hearing this, Qi Ling immediately crawled out of Yun Luofeng's arms obediently and sat down cross-legged to absorb the spiritual energy in her body. Originally, Yun Luofeng thought that it would only take a month to come out. Who knew that Qi Ling had already spent 3 months cultivating? During these 3 months, Yun Luofeng did not stop cultivating either. She would occasionally find spiritual beasts to fight. As a result, her cultivation had more or less stabilized, and she had also gained a firm foothold in the divine spirit realm. Of course, Yun Luofeng's greatest gain was that a month ago, she had unintentionally entered a cave and noticed that quite a few people had died in that cave. Moreover, due to some unknown reason, the aura of death left behind by those people had not dissipated. Instead, it had gathered in the cave. Therefore, Yun Luofeng released the skeleton core. After absorbing the aura of death, the strength of the skeleton core soared to the high-level Holy Spirit level, only a step away from becoming a god. Although the skeleton core was only a high-level Holy Spirit, Yun Luofeng believed that they would not lose to a divine spirit. Now, with the improvement of the skeleton core, Yun Luofeng's power had increased by quite a bit. The gold-seeking mice had been desperately eating elixirs in the past few months, and all of them had reached the Holy Spirit realm. Milk Tea and the Rat Queen were on the verge of breaking through and were only a step away from becoming a god. Unfortunately, Fire and TT had not found a way to increase their strength. As for little Mo, there was no need to worry. His strength was born from the divine grimoire space. Chapter 18:20. With the expansion of the divine grimoire space, little Mo's strength would increase. The little tree had recently begun to cultivate diligently. Originally, he was the strongest among everyone. Now, even Milk Tea and the rest were about to surpass him. How could he not be anxious? Fortunately, he had reached the half-step void realm earlier and would probably be the first among all the spirit beasts to break through to the divine spirit realm. Spirit River Mountain. A group of people were standing with the spirit beasts in front of them. The person who was being protected in the middle was a pretty young girl in pink robes. She looked very adorable and delicate. However, her body had been stained with blood and her delicate features looked a little pale. "Your Highness, We'll protect you and leave this place first. The leader of the guards said. His face showed that he was unafraid of death. No, I can't leave. The girl's eyes were filled with fear, but her voice was extremely determined. If I leave, this mission will be in vain. Princess, if you don't leave, won't you be fulfilling those people's wishes? They deliberately let you find the mysterious heartgrass because they want to use the spirit beasts on Spirit River Mountain to deal with you. The guard's face was filled with anxiety. He looked at these ferocious spirit beasts worriedly. It wasn't that the royal family didn't have experts, but how could those people let the princess take those experts away? They deliberately used the princess's filial piety to force the princess to find the mysterious heartgrass. This way, the princess would definitely die. Those people were really ruthless. Just as the group of guards were persuading the girl, a huge spirit beast suddenly broke through the chest of the guard in front of him. The guard immediately fell to the ground. At the same time, the spirit beast had already rushed in front of the girl. The girl's face was pale from fright. Her body couldn't move and her eyes were filled with fear. She could only watch as the spirit beast pounced on her. Swish! The girl thought that she was dead for sure. However, at this moment, a piercing sound was heard. A branch flew from behind and pierced into the head of the spirit beast. The spirit beast's claws were only a millimeter away from the girl. With a bang, it fell from the sky and landed heavily on the ground. But it wasn't over yet. A few spirit beasts that were entangled with the guards were also pierced by the branches and fell to the ground without any warning. Everyone was stunned as they looked in the direction where the tree branch had come from. Then, they saw a woman in white slowly walking out of the thicket. This woman was very young, around 20 years old. She had a devastatingly beautiful face that made it hard for anyone to ignore her. Young lady, did you save us just now? A guard cupped his fists respectfully and asked aloud. This woman looked young, but to be able to appear in the depths of the Ling River Mountain, how could she be an ordinary person? Ah, Sister Moo, it's you? Just as the crowd was trying to guess the woman's identity, a small head popped out from behind her and stuck out her tongue. Just now, Big Sister Yun said that someone was disturbing our cultivation, so we came out to take a look. I didn't think that the ones in trouble would be you. You're... The girl was stunned. You're Qi Ling? Qi Su's sister? Why are you here? After hearing their conversation, Yun Luofeng slowly retracted his aura. So they were old acquaintances of the Qi siblings? An innocent smile appeared on Qi Ling's face. It was Sister Yun who brought me here. She said she had a way to help me cultivate, so I came here with Sister Yun. Oh, that's right. Sister Yun is my master. She was the one who stopped me from being a trash. Chapter 1821. Master? Yun Luofeng paused for a moment, but he didn't refute Qi Ling. Really? You can cultivate now? The girl's eyes shone with excitement. That's great. By the way, is your brother all right? When she mentioned Qi Su, the young girl's face turned red, and her face was filled with shyness. Seeing this, Yun Luofeng curled his lips. The relationship between this girl and Qi Su was probably not as simple as friends. To be able to remember Qi Su when he was in dire straits, such a woman was worth befriending. My brother is very good, but I was almost sold by the Qi family. Qi Ling pursed her lips, looking aggrieved. What? The girl was shocked. You said that the Qi family wanted to sell you? When did that happen? How could they do such a thing? I thought it would be good for you and your sister to leave the Qi family, but I didn't expect those people to be so heartless. Selling their daughter? The Qi family wasn't that poor. They just felt that Qi Ling was useless and wanted to exchange him for something else. Needless to say, this was all Qi Mo's idea. At the thought of this, the girl was filled with anger. Qi Mo was an idiot who wasn't even worthy of carrying Qi Su's shoes. She really didn't know what Qi Zheng was thinking. Sister Mu, I remember that the emperor seems to be sick. How is he now? A year ago, when they were chased out of the Qi family, the emperor of Drifting Wind Country was seriously ill. As a princess, she couldn't send them off. The girl's eyes darkened. Father's health is getting worse and worse. This time, his concubines asked me to come to the Spirit River Mountain to look for the profound heart grass. They claimed that father loves me the most, and if I don't look for the profound heart grass, it would be unfilial. Actually, they don't need to say such things. As long as there's a little hope of saving father, I won't give up. Profound heart grass. Yun Luofeng glanced at the girl. There's no profound heartgrass on the Spirit River Mountain. What? The girl's expression changed. Impossible. Imperial concubine Qin said that the profound heartgrass is deep in the Spirit River Mountain. How can there be no profound heartgrass here? I'm telling the truth. I've been in the Spirit River Mountain for 3 months, but I've never seen the profound heartgrass. Qiling also echoed, my big sister Yun is right. There is no profound heartgrass in the Spirit River Mountain. You must have been deceived by those people. Actually, Qiling didn't know what the mysterious heartgrass was. She only knew that what Yun Luofeng said was right. The girl's legs went soft and she almost fell to the ground. She bit her lip tightly and said angrily, it's fine if they want to harm me, but if they drag Father's illness down because of this, Father will die. Your Highness, this subordinate has already said that those people have bad intentions. They all want to cause trouble for Your Highness. The guard next to the young girl hurriedly helped her up and said bitterly, ever since His Majesty fell ill, those people who were like wolves and jackals had treated the princess this way. They wanted to kill her even more. How could they, who were loyal to the princess, not be angry? Thank you. The young girl stood up. Not only did you save me just now, you also told me that there was no mysterious heartgrass in the Spirit River Mountain. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have continued deeper. By the way, I haven't asked for your name yet. My name is Mu Shuoxin. Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng said with a faint smile. Mu Shuoxin was a little dazed. It wasn't easy for her to find a way to save her royal father, but she didn't expect that it was a plot by those people to harm her. Chapter 1822. Sister Mu, are your father's concubines bullying you at home? Qiling looked at Mu Shuoxin worriedly. In the imperial city, after Aunt Yun's death, he and his brother had a mishap. Only Mu Shuoxin had treated them the same. That was why Qiling liked her. Mu Shuoxin's eyes darkened. Qi Zhang is proposing to the royal family on behalf of Qi Mo. Those people have already agreed. What? Qiling shouted anxiously and grabbed Mu Shuoxin's arm. Sister Mu, you can't marry him. He's a bad guy. He even hit me. Mu Shuoxin's heart tightened. She looked at Qiling nervously. Qi Mo hit you? Where did he hit you? Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt, but I hate him. Qiling pouted. She suddenly thought of something and turned to Yun Luofeng. Sister Yun, can we save the emperor? If the emperor wakes up, Sister Mu won't have to marry that bad guy. Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed and he nodded. Qi Su wants to go to the imperial city to develop. We'll go to the palace to visit him. Okay. Qiling finally smiled. In her opinion, Yun Luofeng was so capable that he would definitely be able to cure the emperor. Mu Shuoxin did not say much about Yun Luofeng's words. She smiled bitterly and shook her head, her eyes filled with sorrow. There were so many famous physicians in Drifting Wind Country, but none of them were able to save his father. He had consumed countless spiritual medicine, but there was still no improvement. No matter how powerful Qiling's master was, she wouldn't be able to save him. Thinking of this, she sighed softly. Her mother was her father's most beloved woman, but she died during childbirth. However, her father did not blame her for harming her mother. Instead, he doted on her and did not have an empress for many years. This made some people jealous. If her father died, she would no longer have any relatives in this world. What was the point of living then? Moreover, those people wanted her to marry Chimo. Since there's no mystic heartgrass here, let's go back to the palace first. Qiling, if you see your brother, help me greet him. Mu Shuoxin looked at Qiling and said solemnly, also don't tell him about me. I don't want him to go back and stand up for me. He was no match for the Qi clan, especially now that the Qi clan had the support of the royal family. Big sister Mu, don't you want to see big brother? Qiling bit her lip and stared at Mu Shuoxin without blinking. Mu Shuoxin's fingers trembled as she shook her head with a bitter smile. What's the point of seeing him? He can't help me. Moreover, she did not want him to be involved in these matters. All right. Qiling lowered her head in disappointment, but when she remembered that they were going to the imperial city soon, she pulled herself together. Big sister Mu, big brother and I will look for you. Mu Shuoxin's body stiffened. She wanted to say something, but she didn't say anything in the end. Yun Luofeng looked at the sky, then at Qiling. It's getting late, we should go down the mountain. Otherwise, Your brother will think that I've kidnapped you. Qi Ling nodded and grabbed Yun Luofeng's hand. Her delicate, jade-like face lit up with an innocent smile. Sister Yun, let's hurry up and leave. I miss my brother. This was the first time she had left her brother for such a long time. Yun Luofeng did not say much. She hugged Qi Ling's body and leaped into the air. Her body instantly turned into a ray of light and shot into the distance. Maplewood Town. Inside the courtyard. Shiyu stood outside the study. After pondering for a long time, she finally pushed open the door and walked in. Chapter 1823. She immediately saw the young man sitting in front of the desk and bit her lips. Young master, you let Miss leave with a strange woman. Are you really at ease? It's been more than 3 months and Miss hasn't returned yet. I'm afraid she's already in danger. Shiyu's eyes were filled with anxiety. She really didn't understand. She was just a woman he had never met before. Why did the young master trust her so much? The young man frowned and looked up at Shiyu. Firstly, she's not a strange woman. Secondly, Xiaoling is my younger sister. Would I, as her brother, harm her? Young master, that's not what I meant. Shiyu was sweating profusely. I'm worried that the woman lied to you. Young master, you're kind-hearted and easily trusting others. Perhaps Qi family purposely found a woman who looks similar to Lord Yuqing. Their goal is for you. Bang! The young man threw the pen in his hand on the table and said coldly, Shiyu, don't forget your identity. Aren't you being too nosy? How could he not be worried about Qi Ling? However, worrying about Qi Ling didn't mean that he didn't trust Yun Luofeng. He was just afraid that the two of them were in danger. Back then, Yun Yueqing claimed that he would leave for a year. In the end, he didn't return for 3 years. Young master, you've changed. Shiyu took 2 steps back and looked at Qi Su in disbelief. You used to put Miss in the most important position and consider everything for her. Now, she's been missing for 3 months. Can you still trust that woman? I can guarantee that the woman will never come back after taking Miss away. Qi Su's face was livid and he slammed his palm on the table. Shiyu, you. Young master, you're too disappointing. Shiyu glanced at Qi Su and turned to walk out. If you're not going to look for Miss, I'll go. I'll bring Miss Ling back. Qi Su's expression became even uglier. If he didn't know that Shiyu was loyal to him and that she dared to disobey him because she was worried about Qi Ling, he would have slapped her to death. Stop. I trust Miss Yun. You're not allowed to go. Shiyu's footsteps paused, and the disappointment in her eyes grew. It seemed that she had never thought that the young master would be blinded by beauty, so much so that he would not even care about the young Mississippi. Young master, I believe in my intuition. She won't come back. If I've wronged her, then I'll be her slave for the rest of my life to pay for the mistakes I've made. Shiyu raised her head and looked straight at the courtyard in front of her. Her voice was powerful and full of determination. However, at this moment, in the void in front of him, 2 familiar figures suddenly entered his eyes. The woman's clothes were as white as snow, fluttering in the wind. In her arms was a little Lolita that was carved from jade, and she was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Miss! Shiyu looked at the 2 people descending from the sky and suddenly cried out involuntarily. His words were still echoing in the courtyard. It was as if a hand had slapped her hard in the face. It was extremely embarrassing. What came next was that her heart, which had been on tenterhooks for 3 months, could finally be at ease. Big brother, I'm back. The moment Yun Luofeng landed with Qi Ling in his arms, the little Lolita's soft voice rang out from the courtyard. In the study, Qi Su, who was immersed in writing, heard the little Lolita's voice. His pen slipped from his hand and he rushed out of the study like a madman. Chapter 1824. Before the little girl could react, she fell into a warm embrace. You're back, you're finally back. Qi Su's voice trembled. For the past 3 months, he had been suppressing his worries, afraid that others would be as worried as he was. He was afraid that Yun Luofeng and Qi Ling would be like his master and never return. He did not want to experience the pain of losing a loved one a second time. Brother, I'm sorry. I was cultivating and forgot the time. I came back late. Sensing Qi Su's concern, Qi Ling Xue stuck out her pink tongue and said innocently. Cultivating? You. Qi Su let go of the little girl in his arms and looked at her in surprise. You can cultivate? Under Qi Su's gaze, Qi Ling nodded slowly. After getting an affirmative answer, Qi Su's lips trembled, and tears of excitement fell uncontrollably. That's great. You can finally cultivate. That's really great. Qi Su wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes and looked up at Yun Luofeng. Miss Yun, thank you. If not for you, I don't know when Xiao Ling would be able to cultivate. Yun Luofeng smiled faintly. Actually, Qi Ling's talent is not bad and she has the heart of a strong cultivator. You can let me cultivate her. I will let her grow up as fast as possible. Qi Su was overjoyed and hurriedly scolded, Xiao Ling, greet your master. In the beginning, Qi Ling had only regarded Yun Luofeng as her master but had still called her sister. However, Qi Su's words were equivalent to asking Qi Ling to acknowledge her as her master. Xiao Ling greets master. Qi Ling knelt down and stuck out her tongue coquettishly as she spoke with a smile. Shiyu's mouth had already dropped open in shock. This woman did not take the opportunity to kidnap the young miss? She even helped the young miss successfully embark on the path of cultivation? Thinking of how she had targeted Yun Luofeng previously, Shiyu's face flashed with shame. In reality, she did not particularly hate Yun Luofeng. She only felt that Yun Luofeng would be a burden to her master, which was why she had resisted her. However, her master had reprimanded her for this, which made her even angrier. Moreover, she had said such outrageous things because she was worried about Qi Ling. Now that she knew that Yun Luofeng had helped Qi Ling in her cultivation, the hatred in her heart dissipated. She just stood to the side and bit her lip, not saying a word. Shiyu, do you still remember what you said before? Qi Su glanced at Shiyu and said, You said that if Miss Yun hadn't abducted Linger, you would have become her slave to make up for your mistake. Now that you're hers, you have nothing to do with us anymore. Young master. Shiyu's expression changed drastically, and she fell to her knees. I know I was wrong. Please don't chase me away. It's too late. Qi Su looked at Shiyu coldly. I know you look down on Miss Yun, but I've warned you before that she's not someone you can afford to offend. Yet you refuse to listen to me and even defy me time and time again. Why do you think I should continue to accept you? Just as Shiyu was about to continue begging for mercy, Yun Luofeng's devilish voice came from the side. Qi Su, are you trying to force someone you don't want into my hands? I don't have the habit of accepting things that people don't want. Shiyu's expression stiffened. Her head fell to the ground, and she almost wanted to find a hole to burrow into. She was not weak at all, but in the end, these people all despised her? Chapter 1825. What's the reason why you don't want her? Qi Su glanced at Shiyu. To be honest, he wanted Shiyu to submit to Yun Luofeng to test her spirit and make her understand that she couldn't afford to offend just anyone. She's too weak. I don't need her. Yun Luofeng was very honest, but the words he said made Shiyu's face pale. She didn't accept Shiyu not because of Shiyu's attitude towards her, but because she didn't like her strength. Qi Su immediately fell silent. That's right. Yun Luofeng could create a divine spirit realm puppet. Why would he like Shiyu? Therefore, his refusal was reasonable. Since that's the case, I'll let Shiyu clean the backyard. He didn't plan on keeping Shiyu by his side, but he didn't chase her away for the sake of his master. Of course, he wouldn't stop her if she wanted to do it herself. Shiyu's expression didn't look good. She lowered her head and knelt on the ground. She'd rather clean the yard than be chased away. Otherwise, if Lord Yuqing was still alive, he definitely wouldn't let her off. Yes, Shiyu feared Yun Yuqing from the bottom of her heart. She remembered that 3 years ago, when she was being chased by a group of people, Yun Yuqing descended from the sky and saved her. Yun Yuqing was her savior and she should be grateful. That was how she felt. But compared to gratitude, she was more afraid. Yun Yuqing saved her and told her his purpose. He ordered her to stay by Qi Su's side and protect him. If anything happened to Qi Su, he'd make her pay with her life. Therefore, she didn't want her master to chase her out. Otherwise, Yun Yuqing would definitely kill her. She could even recall the murderous aura Yun Yuqing exuded when he said that. It was an aura that could kill her at any time. Thinking of this, Shiyu lowered her head and bit her lip. Master, I'm willing to clean the yard. I only ask that you allow me to stay by your side. Qi Su paused and continued, Although I told you to clean the yard from now on, you must be respectful to Miss Yun. She's your #1 master. You must be more respectful to her than to me and Xiao Ling. Shiyu raised her head in surprise. Even though Yun Luofeng helped the young miss cultivate, her master wanted her to be more respectful to Yun Luofeng than to them? Was this just because he was grateful for Yun Luofeng's help? No matter how many questions she had, Shiyu didn't ask. She lowered her eyes and said, "Yes, young master." She had no choice. Furthermore, she believed from the bottom of her heart that a woman like Yun Yueqing would never die in Nemesis Forest. "You may leave. I have something to say to Miss Yun." Chi Su didn't make things difficult for him anymore, but his indifferent tone revealed that he didn't want to waste any more time talking to Shiyu. Shiyu stood up from the ground and slowly retreated. When she looked at Yun Luofeng, there was no longer any hatred in her eyes. At most, there was only some unwillingness. "Miss Yun." After Shiyu left, Chi Su turned his gaze towards Yun Luofeng. "While you were away, I reached another agreement with the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi." "What agreement?" Yun Luofeng asked, raising his eyebrows. "It's like this. We want to go to the imperial city to develop, but the Qi clan will definitely not accommodate us. Perhaps we will be suppressed very badly in the imperial city. Even though they had the spirit-gathering liquid in their hands, if the Qi clan were to suppress them, their journey in the imperial city would be extremely difficult." Chapter 1826. That was why Chi Su had so many concerns. "That's why I'm planning to use the second prince's name to open this medicine hall. As a reward, he will have priority in purchasing anything in our medicine hall." Even though Yun Luofeng provided the second prince with a lot of spirit-gathering liquid every month, who would complain about having too much of it? In reality, there were other reasons why the second prince was willing to agree to this request. He was certain that the person who provided the spirit-gathering liquid would definitely be someone important in the future. He would not be at a disadvantage to befriend such a person. That's right, he was referring to the person who provided the spirit-gathering liquid, not Chi Su. After all, second brother Qi believed that Chi Su must have had help from an expert since he could not produce the spirit-gathering liquid. Second brother Qi would never have thought that the expert he was referring to was Yun Luofeng. "You've thought it through." Yun Luofeng stroked his chin as a glint flashed across his eyes. "When Qi Ling and I went to cultivate, we met Mu Xuexin." Chi Su's body trembled when he heard that name, and a look of nostalgia flashed across his eyes. Yun Luofeng had been observing his expression. When she saw the emotions in his eyes, she concluded that Chi Su and Mu Xuexin's relationship was not ordinary. She continued to stare at Chi Su. "Mu Xuexin said that the royal family wants to marry her to Qi Mo. We don't have to be afraid of the Qi family, but if we want to achieve something in the imperial city, it's best to avoid trouble from the royal family." As expected, Chi Su was stunned when he heard that Mu Xuexin was going to marry Qi Mo. Then, an imperceptible pain flashed across his eyes. At first, he thought that Mu Xuexin had a one-sided crush on him. Now, it seemed that she had feelings for him. However, because Chi Su had been chased out of the Qi family, he could only suppress his feelings for Mu Xuexin. Perhaps even Qi Ling didn't notice this. Chi Su's pain only lasted for a moment, and he quickly recovered. "Actually, even without the marriage between Mu Xuexin and Qi Mo, I have to worry about the royal family because concubine Qin is my father's sister." Concubine Qin? Yun Luofeng's eyes flashed. If she remembered correctly, Mu Xuexin had said that Qin Fei wanted to frame her. "Chi Su, when the medicinal hall opens, don't let anyone know that the second prince is here. After all, he's the prince of Tianqi Nation. He might not be able to get the approval to open a medicinal hall in Drifting Wind Nation." Hearing this, Chi Su was startled. He had never thought about this before. Everything that happens after that will be logical. The shop is already open. What else can we do? Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes. "Actually, my concerns are different from yours. You are worried that the royal family and the Qi family will suppress the medicinal hall, but do you think that something like the spirit-gathering elixir can be suppressed? If people knew that you were the one who opened the medicinal hall, those shameless people would definitely seize it by force. If it was the prince of another country, in order to avoid a conflict between the two countries, they wouldn't dare to seize it by force." Chi Su's face stiffened. Yun Luofeng was right. With those people's characters, they would definitely snatch away the spirit-gathering liquid. If the Qi family asks, tell them that you've already sold the recipe to the second prince. Yun Luofeng shrugged. Since someone was willing to take the blame, how could she refuse? Miss Yun, I understand. When are we going to the Imperial City? Chi-Su calmed down and asked. Pack your things, we'll leave now. Yun Luofeng's words made Chi-Su excited. Only the heavens knew how depressed he had been for the past year. He never thought that he would be able to return. He would definitely let those people understand how big of a mistake it was to chase him away. Chapter 1827. Brother, are we going home? Qi Ling's little face lit up with a happy smile compared to her previous resistance towards the Imperial City. If we go back, does that mean Sister Mu doesn't have to marry Mo? After all, you were the one who was engaged to Sister Mu previously. Engaged? Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at Chi-Su subconsciously. His lips curled into a smile. Xiaoling, don't talk nonsense. Chi-Su's expression changed, and he immediately scolded her. Mu and I are siblings. Qi Ling pursed her lips. She still remembered that not long before they left, Big Sister Mu had confessed to her brother. However, her brother said that he only treated her as his younger sister. Since then, she had never wanted Mu Shuoxin to be her sister-in-law. However, she still didn't want Sister Mu, whom she liked, to marry someone she hated. Chi-Su. Yun Luofeng glanced at Chi-Su plainly. The person I choose can't be so cowardly that he doesn't even dare to pursue feelings. Then, what else can I expect you to do for me? Yun Luofeng's words were very serious, but they easily struck Chi-Su's heart, causing him to feel a sudden pain. Mu Shuoxin was a princess, but she didn't have the temperament of a princess. She even stood by his side when he was in dire straits. How could he not like such a woman? However, she was a princess, and he had already been chased out of his family. He was constantly in danger. How could he drag her down under such a situation? Yun Luofeng's words were like a bucket of wisdom pouring over him. He was instantly enlightened. Yes, he was so cowardly that he didn't dare to face his own heart. What right did he have to do things for her? Thank you, Miss Yun. Chi-Su's face was filled with gratitude. I understand. I won't give up in the future. He was no longer the Chi-Su of the past. He had the ability to bring Mu Shuoxin a superior life. Imperial City. The Qi family. Qi Zhang was sitting in the study with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he heard footsteps coming from outside the door and opened his eyes with a swoosh. Creak. The door of the study was pushed open, and Mo walked in. He frowned and said, Father, I've already investigated the matter you asked me to investigate. Oh! A glint flashed across Qi Zheng's eyes. What's the background of the woman who follows Chi-Su? No background. No background? No background again? Qi Zheng's expression was somewhat ugly. Back then, Yun Yueqing also had no background. This woman looked so similar to Yun Yueqing. Could they be related? Could she be Yun Yueqing's daughter? How could such a virtuous woman marry and give birth to a daughter? Qi Zheng wouldn't believe it. Because in this world, there was probably no man that could enter Yun Yueqing's eyes. Father, even if she really has a relationship with Yun Yueqing, do we need to be afraid of her? She's just a young woman. Could he be stronger than Yun Yueqing? Mo looked disapproving. Qi Zhang took a deep breath and continued to ask, Have you found anything about the man who helped Chi-Su? At this point, Mo's expression darkened. He's the second prince of Tianqi. In fact, second brother Qi's identity was not a secret. It was just that Qi Zhang did not think about it at first. It was only when he sent someone to investigate that he found out the other party's identity. The second prince of Tianqi? Qi Zhang exclaimed. Why is the second prince of Tianqi helping him? Mo's expression turned uglier. I got news from Maplewood Town that Chi-Su has already sold the formula of the spirit-gathering liquid to the second prince of Tianqi. Chapter 1828. Father. After saying that, Mo said indignantly, What right does that bastard Chi-Su have to do that? What right does he have to sell my formula to someone else? That belongs to the Qi family. That's right. Until now, Mo still felt that the formula of the spirit-gathering liquid belonged to the Qi family. Chi-Su selling the formula to the second prince was equivalent to selling the Qi family's possession. As the heir of the Qi family, how could she be willing to do that? No wonder. Qi Zhang closed his eyes unwillingly and only opened them after a long while. I was wondering why the second prince of the kingdom of Tianqi would help him for no reason. It turns out that he's also eyeing the formula. This Qi Su is really a traitor. He doesn't know how to show filial respect to the Qi clan when he has something good. He could have sold it to the Qi clan, but he gave it to someone else. Father, what should we do now? Qi Mo was furious. He was furious when he thought about how his formula had been taken away. Qi Mo, don't worry about that. In a few months, the fourth princess will be a member of the Qi family. Go and look for her first. Qi Zhang looked at Qi Mo and said. Qi Mo was stunned. Mu Xuexin's pretty face appeared in his mind, and greed and determination flashed across his eyes. From the first time he saw the fourth princess, he was deeply fascinated. Who knew that Qi Su was the one who was engaged to the royal family, and the fourth princess only had eyes for him? Why? He was the eldest son of the Qi family. Why wasn't he the one who was engaged? Fortunately, the emperor was seriously ill and Yun Yueqing's life was unknown. That was why he had the chance to marry the princess. Also, Qi Zhang hesitated for a while and continued, the fourth princess can only be your concubine. She can't be your wife. What? Qi Mo was shocked. Let the fourth princess be his concubine? Would the royal family allow it? Qi Zhang saw Qi Mo's surprise and paused. This is your aunt's order. If you marry the fourth princess, she can only be your concubine. Qi Mo's aunt was Qi Qin, who hated Mu Xuexin to the bone. Given how much Qi Qin hated Mu Xuexin, how could she allow her to be his wife? She could only be a concubine. So be it. I just want her. Besides, if I marry a princess of the royal family as my wife, how am I going to take in concubines in the future? Qi Mo licked his lips. If she's a concubine, she won't be able to control me. Qi Su, don't think that I don't know that even if you keep rejecting Mu Xuexin, you still have her in your heart. I want to let you know that the woman you like is only fit to be my concubine, to be played by me. At that time, you will definitely suffer for the rest of your life. Qi Mo laughed out loud as if he could imagine Qi Su's painful expression. Following that, Qi Zheng's words filled him with joy. Mo, get ready to welcome your mother back to the mansion in a few days. I want to give her an identity. Yes, father. At that moment, Qi Mo felt that he was a winner in life. Not only did he have power and influence, but now that his mother had returned, it was only a matter of time before she became the official wife of the Qi family. How could Qi Su compare? That guy was only fit to look up at her. You may leave. Qi Zhang waved his hand and looked at Qi Mo with love in his eyes. Qi Mo cupped his fists and left. He wanted to look for the fourth princess and let her understand that it was the best choice to rely on him. In the inner courtyard of the palace, Mu Iran was lying unconscious on the bed. His face was pale and his breathing was weak. A beautiful woman in palace attire lay beside him. There were tears on her face, but she didn't look sad. Instead, she looked fake. Chapter 1829. Imperial Concubine Qin. At this moment, a voice came from outside. Her Highness the fourth princess has returned. What? Imperial Concubine Qin was shocked. That girl didn't die? As there were still some officials in the room, Imperial Concubine Qin immediately felt that her reaction was too intense, but she quickly concealed it. A smile appeared on her face. It's good that this girl is back. She must have brought back the profound heartgrass. His Majesty can be saved now. Hearing this, the ministers also became excited. The country could not be without a ruler. If His Majesty was unconscious, the drifting wind country would be annexed eventually. Greetings, Your Highness. A row of greetings came from outside the door. Following that, a lily-white hand pushed open the door and rushed into the room. Imperial Concubine Qin was the first to welcome her. She had a smile on her face, but it was a fake one. Your Highness, did you bring back the profound heartgrass? If you did, then hurry up and take it out. Or do you not want to save His Majesty? At the mention of the profound heartgrass, Mu Xuexin's eyes were filled with fire as she glared at her. You still dare to say that? You lied to me that there was profound heartgrass in the Spirit River Mountain. I turned the entire mountain upside down but couldn't find it. What? Imperial Concubine Qin covered her mouth in shock. Your Highness, you said that you turned the entire Spirit River Mountain upside down? According to what I know, There are countless dangers in the Spirit River Mountain. If you really turned it over, would you be able to stand here safe and sound? In my opinion, you're the coward who didn't dare to go to the Spirit River Mountain, right? Mu Shuashin sneered. Since Imperial Concubine Qin knows that there are countless dangers in the Spirit River Mountain, why did you force me to go there? Instead, you hid in the palace? You said that you're infatuated with father, but I couldn't tell. Imperial Concubine Qin's expression was a bit awkward as she laughed. I need to take care of His Majesty, how can I leave? Furthermore, as His Majesty's daughter, you should take risks for His Majesty. Is that so? If that's the case, why didn't Imperial Concubine Qin send me the experts in the palace? There are no experts in the palace, but the Qi family seems to have many experts, right? Mu Shueshin's words caused Imperial Concubine Qin to freeze. The officials in the room all turned to look at Qin Fei. Qin Fei didn't have any hatred towards the former empress. After all, when the empress passed away, the Qi family hadn't gained power yet. Qin Fei naturally hadn't seen the former empress. However, she hated Mu Shueshin. It was precisely because the emperor doted on Mu Shueshin that she was very unhappy. Mu Shueshin was just a daughter. She had given birth to a son. She had never seen the emperor dote on her son so much. When Yun Yueqing was still around, Qin Fei didn't dare to be too presumptuous because she knew Yun Yueqing's character. If Yun Yueqing found out about her true character, he definitely wouldn't support the Qi family anymore. In addition, Mu Shueshin and Qi Su had a good relationship. Qi Su was also a protective person, so it was even more impossible for him to bully Mu Shueshin. Thus, Concubine Zither's character had only been revealed a year after Yun Yueqing had left. Empress Qin, what you're doing is completely disregarding the fourth princess. One of the officials couldn't stand it anymore and his face turned ashen. If something happens to the princess, how can this official explain it to His Majesty? They knew that Mu Shueshin had gone to the Spirit River Mountain, so they didn't stop her. After all, there were many experts in the imperial family. However, they didn't expect that Qin Fei wouldn't hand those experts over to Mu Shueshin. Chapter 1830. The difference between the Wind Cloud continent and other places was that as long as a woman had the ability, she could also participate in politics. With the emperor unconscious, Qin Fei was the only woman to be made a concubine. The others were just concubines and nobles. Adding on the fact that the only prince in the palace was born by Qin Fei, she naturally held power. Of course, this was also related to the Qi family's help. Father. Mu Shueshin slowly walked towards the bed. Looking at the man who was breathing weakly on the bed, the rims of her eyes turned red. Don't worry, I will definitely find a way to save you even if I have to exhaust my life. Qin Fei was indeed disdainful towards this. Your Highness, it's useless no matter what you say. If you really have the ability, then bring a doctor who can treat His Majesty. Mu Shueshin coldly stared at Qin Fei and didn't say anything more. She pushed the door open and walked out. She wanted to go back to the princess residence to rest, but just as she walked to the door, she saw a figure coming over. She frowned. Fourth princess. Qi Mo saw Mu Shueshin immediately. His eyes were filled with desire as he stared at the beautiful woman in front of him. He couldn't wait to pounce on her and eat her up. Why are you here? Because of concubine Qin, Mu Shueshin was furious whenever she saw the Qi family. Of course, the Qi Su siblings were an exception. Your Highness, what are you talking about? I am your fiancé. Do I need a reason to come here to see my fiancé? Qi Mo looked at Mu Shueshin greedily and swallowed his saliva. A lewd smile appeared on his feminine face. His gaze was too direct, so direct that Mu Shueshin's heart was filled with rage. Impudent! Who allowed you to call yourself this princess's fiancé? This princess will never marry you. Qi Mo sneered. He grabbed Mu Shueshin's hand and touched her chest with the other. This time, Mu Shueshin was completely enraged. She stepped on Qi Mo's foot and slapped him when he retracted his hand in pain. With a slap, the entire world became quiet. Qi Mo was stunned. He did not expect Mu Shueshin to hit him. His temper flared up, and he glared at her fiercely. Mu Shueshin, do you really think that I won't dare to do anything to you just because you're a princess? Wasn't it because the emperor doted on you in the past that you used to be a tyrant? Let me tell you, the current imperial family is already Qin Fei's world. If the emperor dies, Qin Fei's son will naturally be the next emperor. Mu Xuexin widened her eyes, and her body trembled in anger. You're treacherous. Treason? So what? Anyway, it's impossible for your old emperor to recover. The imperial doctors have also determined that he won't live for more than a few months. The country cannot be without a ruler for a single day. In the future, I'll be the little emperor's cousin. You can't wait to curry favor with me. It was no wonder that Qi would say something like that. His little cousin was the emperor's only son, so he would be the next emperor. Once the emperor died, the Qi family would have the final say in the imperial family. Father won't die. If you curse him again, I won't forgive you. Mu Xuexin's face was pale, and her body was trembling as if she would collapse at any moment. Qi smiled disdainfully. Mu Xuexin, you probably don't know that Qin Fei has already betrothed you to me as my concubine. You'll only be my concubine in the future. Do you still think you're a high and mighty princess? What right do you have to be so arrogant in front of me? Chapter 1831. Especially since this woman had slapped him. He would return the slap in the future. Qi Mo's eyes were filled with hostility. At that moment, Mu Xuexin was shocked by Qi Mo's words. She had never expected concubine Qin to be so bold as to make a princess like her a concubine. Qi Mo, I won't let you get away with it. Mu Xuexin gritted her teeth and looked at Qi Mo hatefully. No matter what happens in the future, I'm still a princess. You'd better be more respectful. Otherwise, I won't let you off. At this point, Mu Xuexin walked around Qi Mo. When she walked past him, she didn't forget to bump into him with her shoulder. Peach! Qi Mo looked at Mu Xuexin's back and said sinisterly, I'll let you be arrogant for a while longer. After you become my concubine, there will be a day when you beg for mercy. These words naturally fell into the ears of the departing Mu Xuexin. The moment she closed the door, tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. Qi Su, although you rejected me before, I've already decided on you in my heart. She took out a jade pendant. It was the token of engagement between her and Qi Su when Yun Yueqing was still around. At that time, I've already considered going to Maplewood Town to look for you when father recovers. If you love me, I'll follow you no matter how hard it is. If you don't love me, I'll be your sister and have no regrets. But now I can't wait for that day. Qi Su, do you know that the reason why I've persevered these days is not only because of you, but also because of my father who has always loved me? I want to do my best to save him. Mu Xuexin lowered her eyes, which were filled with sadness. So, if father really can't be saved, I'd rather follow him than be humiliated by Qi Mo. A good woman wouldn't marry a second husband. Not only was she engaged to Qi Su, but she had also given her his heart. Therefore, she would never allow herself to marry a second man. If she couldn't keep her innocence, what was the point of living? Mu Xuexin's body collapsed to the ground. She covered her face with her hands and cried silently. Imperial City. When Qi Su stepped into the luxurious street again, all sorts of feelings welled up in his heart, and his eyes were filled with nostalgia. Qi Su, tell me, how powerful is the Qi clan? Yun Luofeng turned to the man beside him and asked. Hearing this, Qi Su was stunned for a moment before replying seriously. The most powerful person in the Qi family is my father, Qi Zheng. He has already broken through to the divine soul level and is only one step away from becoming a heavenly god. Miss Yun, I know that your power must be extraordinary, but there is a certain gap between heavenly gods. Yun Luofeng was stunned for a few seconds. She had thought that the Qi family was so powerful. No matter what, Qi Zheng was a heavenly god. She did not expect that he was also a god spirit. It looked like even though there were many heavenly gods in a place like the Windy Cloud continent, there weren't so many that anyone could become a heavenly god. Miss Yun, don't doubt my words. Deities can sense the rules of the world, and the deeper one's understanding of the rules of the world, the more powerful they will be. Don't underestimate Qi Zheng just because he has only been a deity for 5 years, but with the help of my master, he was invincible among the deities. Invincible among the deities? Yun Luofeng shrugged. Putting aside the fact that she had the dragon scale armor, even if she did not summon it, she might not lose to Qi Zheng. What about the royal family? Yun Luofeng continued to ask. Chapter 1832. She needed to understand the royal family situation. The royal family's situation is much more complicated. Chi-Su glanced at Yun Luofeng. There are 2 godly supreme warriors in the royal family. Godly supreme warriors? Yun Luofeng's expression turned serious. After the divine spirit was the divine god, and after the divine god was the godly supreme warrior. The Qi family was known as the #1 family in Drifting Wind Country, second only to the royal family. Miss Yun, in a country, once you reach the level of a god king, you will be taken in by the royal family. From then on, you will leave this family and go to the royal family to enjoy supreme power. Chi-Su paused before continuing. Who wouldn't want to? Moreover, going to the royal family is much easier than building an organization with your life on the line. That's why the Qi family is the #1 family. Who are the 2 godly supreme warriors? Yun Luofeng frowned and continued asking. They are the #1 cultivators in Drifting Wind Country. They are above everyone else and their status is even higher than the emperor. Chi-Su's gaze was solemn. However, these 2 people will not interfere with the royal family's matters. They will only ask the royal family to do things for them when they need it. It could be said that the 2 godly supreme warriors were the ones who truly controlled the royal family. However, these 2 godly supreme warriors usually only cared about cultivation and did not care about the royal family's matters. Therefore, the emperor was still the #1 decision-maker in Drifting Wind Country. I understand. Yun Luofeng stroked her chin as her eyes flashed. Do you want to see your childhood sweetheart? Chi-Su's handsome face blushed. He thought for a moment before saying, Miss Yun, I want to see her after I've made some achievements. I don't want her to worry about me. Moreover, he paused. I don't want too many people to know that I'm returning to the imperial city for now. It's your own private matter. You can decide for yourself. I won't interfere. Yun Luofeng shrugged. Miss Yun, where are we going now? Where's the worst part of the imperial city? Yun Luofeng narrowed her eyes as she asked. Chi-Su was startled but immediately understood what she wanted to do. You're afraid that buying a shop in a good location would attract attention. That's why you chose the worst part? Yun Luofeng nodded. That's right. We can't attract attention for now. I know, in the western city. Qi Ling interrupted without waiting for Chi-Su's reply. Her little face was rosy, and her long eyelashes fluttered slightly. She was as cute as a doll. Come, let's go to the West City now. The 2 words West City caused Chi-Su to be in a trance. Yun Luofeng saw the flash of emotion in his eyes but did not ask. She let Chi-Su take her to the west side of the city. Compared to the luxurious East City, the West City was extremely deserted. Whether it was the shops or the streets, there were only a few people. An old blacksmith sat outside a deserted shop, the hammer in his hand constantly striking the sword in his hand that was burning red. The old blacksmith's face was very old, and his snow-white hair made him look very old. Just as he was immersed in his work, 2 familiar voices came from the front, causing his old body to suddenly stiffen. Uncle! The old blacksmith lifted his eyes and looked at the 2 people in front of him in disbelief. His eyes turned red, and his voice was filled with excitement. Su Erling, are you're back? Uncle? Chapter 1833. Shock flashed across Yun Luofeng's eyes. This old man was Chi-Su's uncle? Looking at his age, those who didn't know would think that he was his grandfather. However, Yun Luofeng quickly realized that this old man wasn't very old. He was probably only in his 30s or 40s, but for some reason, he looked so old. You're back. Does that bastard Qi Zheng know? At the mention of Qi Zheng, the old blacksmith's face was full of anger. He wanted to tear him into pieces. Uncle, how have you been this year? Chi-Su's heart was filled with mixed feelings. Back then, when the Lin family was in trouble, his mother brought his uncle's family back to the Qi family. Because of his master, the Qi family treated them well. However, after his master's life was uncertain, the Qi family chased his uncle's family out. His grandfather's family was a family of blacksmiths. They forged weapons for others. They could have made a good living with their skills, but in the end, they were suppressed by the Qi family. Pretty good. The old blacksmith smiled reluctantly. It was obvious that he didn't want Chi-Su to worry. Uncle, did mother come? Chi-Su sighed and asked. The old blacksmith was stunned. Don't you know that your mother is locked up? This sentence caused Qi Su's expression to change greatly. That bastard Qi Zheng locked my mother up? The old blacksmith smiled coldly. That inhumane bastard, what can't he do? A few months ago, your aunt fell ill. Your mother secretly brought some money over and wanted me to treat your aunt's illness. In the end, Qi Zheng found out and brought a group of people to snatch the money back. He even beat your mother up. At this point, the old blacksmith sighed. He said that the silver belonged to the Qi family. Your mother was a freeloader in the Qi family. She didn't have the right to give it to an outsider. However, the Qi family's fortune was earned with your master's help. Qi Su clenched his fist tightly. Even though Qi Ling was unhappy that Lin Qing didn't speak up for them, she was still angry when she heard that her mother was beaten up. Uncle, how's aunt? Has she recovered? Qi Su asked worriedly. The old blacksmith's eyes darkened. Still the same. Furthermore, his condition had worsened. He might not live for more than a few days. Of course, he did not say this to Qi Su. Qi Su had already gone through a lot. How could he drag him down? Uncle, bring me to see aunt later. I want to talk about serious matters first. Qi Su's expression turned serious. Let me introduce you. This is Miss Yun Luofeng Yun. She's also my master. Little Ling's master. Qi Su did not hide Yun Luofeng's identity in front of the old blacksmith. He was willing to become Yun Luofeng's subordinate. The old blacksmith looked at Yun Luofeng in surprise. His nephew had always been arrogant, but there was actually a day where he was willing to submit to others? This girl didn't look simple. Miss Yun, my uncle is a trustworthy person. Qi Su smiled and said. Yun Luofeng did not say much. She trusted Qi Su. Uncle, we came to the Imperial City this time to open a medicinal hall. Uncle, are you willing to sell your smithy to us? Qi Su asked seriously. The old blacksmith smiled. If you want it, just take it. I don't have any business anyway. It's just a waste of time to leave it here. Qi Su was stunned and subconsciously looked at Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng nodded without hesitation. If that's the case, I'll accept this shop. As a reward, let me treat Qi Su's aunt's illness. Chapter 1834. The old blacksmith was stunned and turned to Qi Su. Your master is a doctor? Miss Yun is not only a doctor, she is also very capable. If she is willing to treat aunt, then let her. Perhaps she can cure it? Qi Su smiled ambiguously. He had great confidence in Yun Luofeng. She was someone who even had the formula for the spirit-gathering solution. What else could she not do? All right. The old blacksmith was excited. To make it easier to take care of your aunt, she is now lying inside. Miss Yun, follow me. After the old blacksmith walked into the shop, Yun Luofeng followed him in. As soon as she entered the shop, she heard coughing sounds. She frowned slightly and slowly walked into the inner hall. There was a small bed in the inner hall. A pale woman was lying on the bed. She had heard the conversation outside, so she was not surprised to see Qi Su and his younger sister. Ling, it's good that you're back. They did not have to worry about these two children anymore. And don't speak. Qi Su quickly walked to the bed and held the woman's hand. His eyes were slightly red. Let Miss Yun take a look at you. The woman nodded. Thank you, Miss Yun. The old blacksmith and his wife did not have children, so they had always treated Qi Su and Qi Ling as their own. Her illness was caused by worrying about Qi Su and his sister, causing her to fall ill from worry. Because she could not get treatment, it became more and more serious. If Qi Su had not returned, she would not have long to live. It's not a serious illness. Yun Luofeng glanced at the woman and concluded, Qi Su, I have a few herbs here. Boil them for her and it will immediately cure her. The old blacksmith opened his mouth in shock. Miss Yun, how can I do that? Just tell us the formula. How can I let you spend money on me buying the herbs? First, the Qi family is bullying you. The entire medicinal hall in the Imperial City is controlled by the Qi family. How can you buy the herbs? Yun Luofeng looked at the old blacksmith and said, Second, you gave me this shop for free. So what if I give you a few herbs? The old blacksmith immediately stopped talking. He knew that Yun Luofeng was speaking the truth. The Qi family would not sell the herbs to him. Even if he were to sell it, it would definitely be at a sky-high price. What's more, he didn't have much money on hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't be unable to hire a doctor. Also, Yun Luofeng paused for a moment. I see that your blacksmithing skills are not bad. Are you willing to help me forge something? Since he wanted to use puppets to control the Wind Cloud continent, he would need a large number of them. She obviously couldn't do it by herself. She wouldn't spend so much time on making puppets. Of course, puppets were different from the spirit-gathering elixir. He could let Chi Su concoct the spirit-gathering elixir, but he had to control the puppets himself. Therefore, she only planned to let the old blacksmith make some basic things. In the end, it had to go through her hands in order to make the puppet work. This was the reason why she chose to help the old blacksmith. Of course, I will give you a decent salary. Yun Luofeng curled the corner of his mouth and slowly said. Seeing that the old blacksmith was still in a daze, Chi Su became anxious and hurriedly said, Uncle, quickly agree to Miss Yun's request. Also, you must not tell anyone that Miss Yun is my master. Otherwise, it will bring trouble to Miss Yun. Chapter 1835. The old blacksmith returned to his senses and looked at Yun Luofeng gratefully. Miss Yun, thank you. If it wasn't for you, we... In the end, his voice was choked with sobs and his eyes were filled with tears. Chi Su is my man, so I want him to work for me without any worries. Yes. She had another reason for helping the old blacksmith. That was so that Chi Su would not have any worries. This was the only way she could help him wholeheartedly. After the shop was settled, Yun Luofeng began to prepare for the opening. During these 3 months, Chi Su did not do nothing. He had prepared quite a lot of spiritual gathering elixirs for this medicinal hall. With the spirit gathering liquid, he would be able to open the shop in the shortest time possible. However, these few days, Chi Su noticed that Chi Ling was frowning and had a listless look. At first, he thought that Chi Ling was sick and asked Yun Luofeng to treat her. However, Yun Luofeng knew that this little girl had something on her mind when he looked at her. Chi Su asked many times, but Chi Ling only shook her head and said nothing. In the end, he could only give up. One day, when Yun Luofeng came out of the shop, Chi Su held Chi Ling's little hand and walked to her side. Miss Yun, the shop will open in 2 days. Why don't we take advantage of today and have a good meal? Previously in Maplewood Town, the medicinal ingredients in the medicine hall had been sold out due to the popularity of the spirit gathering liquid. However, Chi Su did not hand over the money to the Chi family. He had always kept it in his hands. Therefore, he could afford to treat Yun Luofeng to a meal. Yun Luofeng thought for a while and said, All right, let's go. Chi Su smiled. I know a restaurant in the Imperial City that serves good food. Unfortunately, it's hard to book a private room there. I'll have to trouble Miss Yun to stay in the hall. It's fine. Yun Luofeng shrugged. She did not care about these things. Also, Yun Luofeng paused and glanced at Chi Ling. You should bring Chi Ling around to relax. No matter what, Chi Ling was only a 5-year-old little girl. After experiencing so many changes, it was inevitable that she would be a little depressed. Moreover, Yun Luofeng really liked this little girl. Chi Ling looked as if she wanted to say something, but was hesitant to do so. Chi Su, Yun Luofeng seemed to see that Chi Ling wanted to say something. He paused, then said, Can you let me talk to Chi Ling first? Chi Su was a little surprised, but he knew that Chi Ling had been acting weird recently, so he didn't refuse. All right, then I'll go to the Dragon and Phoenix restaurant first. Xiaoling knows where it is. You can find me there after you're done talking. After saying this, he looked at Chi Ling worriedly, but in the end, he turned around and left. He was worried about Chi Ling, but it naturally had nothing to do with Yun Luofeng. He was just worried that Chi Ling was hiding something in her heart and was unwilling to say it out. Your brother has left. Yun Luofeng lowered his head to look at Chi Ling and asked, You've been conflicted for a few days. Don't you have anything to say to me? Chi Ling bit her lip and lowered her head. I want to wait for Big Brother to establish himself in the Imperial City before going to Nemesis Forest. So, Master, can you take me there? Actually, Yun Luofeng would have gone there himself even if Chi Ling hadn't asked. She only wanted to know if Yun Yueqing was by Ling because of the speculation in her heart. Chapter 1836. But, Yun Luofeng never thought that Chi Ling would have such an idea. Chi Ling, Yun Luofeng was silent for a moment. Stay with your brother, I'll go find her. After all, Qiling was too young. How could she bring her to a place like Nemesis Forest? But, no buts. Yun Luofeng's expression darkened. You're my disciple, so you must listen to me. Qiling felt wronged, but she would not disobey Yun Luofeng's words. She could only say, all right, then I'll stay with brother. Hearing this, Yun Luofeng's expression softened. Her fingers gently stroked Qiling's head. Don't worry, I'll definitely bring her back. With this guarantee, Qiling immediately beamed with joy. The matter that was hidden in her heart just now was also thrown out in an instant. Master Ling believes in you. Since Master has said so, Aunt Yun will definitely return. Right, Master, when I have time, I want to visit Sister Mu. I'm worried about her. Qiling blinked her large eyes and looked pitifully at Yun Luofeng. She was afraid that Yun Luofeng would reject her. Yun Luofeng was stunned. She thought of the bedridden emperor and concubine Qin, who was related to the Qi family. So her eyes darkened slightly. Master, if you don't want me to go, then I won't go. Qiling saw Yun Luofeng's gaze and thought that Yun Luofeng did not want her to interact with the royal family and said hurriedly, I'm not asking you not to see her, it's just that. Yun Luofeng paused. I need to find a suitable time to enter the palace. More importantly, even if Qiling wanted to see Mu Xuexin, no one would let her. Unless they could meet outside. But it was obvious that Mu Xuexin was busy with the emperor's serious illness and had no time to wander outside. Qiling could not enter the palace, so naturally, she would not be able to see her. When the two of them stepped into the Dragon Phoenix restaurant, they saw Qi Su waiting for them. Qi Su's eyes lit up with joy. Just as she was about to welcome them, a disdainful voice sounded from the side. Oh, I was wondering who it was. So it's the Qi siblings. You two drowning dogs still dare to return? Qi Su frowned a little. He coldly glanced to the side and immediately recognized a few people who were walking over. The leader of the group was a pair of brother and sister. The boy was handsome, but he looked like a ruffian. The corners of his mouth curled up into an arrogant smile. As for the woman beside her, she was dressed in gorgeous clothes, dignified, beautiful and charming. However, when her beautiful eyes looked at Qi Su, a trace of resentment appeared. That kind of resentment was like being abandoned by a lover, and love turned into hatred. Seeing the appearance of these two people, Qiling's body trembled and she subconsciously burrowed into Yun Luofeng's embrace. A trace of fear appeared on her small face. It was obvious that these two people had a great influence on Qiling when she was in the imperial city. Jiao Chao Jiao Ku, why are you here? The world was too small. Qi Su had not intended to let anyone know that he had returned. Who would have thought that he would actually meet the Jiao siblings at the entrance of the restaurant? Qi Su. Jiao Ke looked at Qi Su resentfully, then turned to look at Yun Luofeng. A trace of hatred flashed across his eyes. When I confessed to you previously, didn't you say that you would only marry Mu Xuexin in this lifetime? Then who is this woman? You've fallen in love with someone else so quickly? It seems that you, Qi Su, are only a